Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of the Boxing Coalition. My name is Cam. Joining me tonight, Chemo. What's happening, Blood?
Hey, Blood. I'm doing good, man. Good to do another show. We got quite a big fight coming up and a lot of news, so let's get into it, man.
Yeah, we got a shitload of news. We were just kind of going through some of it before we started the show, and yeah, I think it'd be more news than actual discussion of last week's fights, because obviously we didn't have a show on Monday, and mostly because the action wasn't spicy enough, but there was some talking points. So should we get into that first?
Yeah, let's do that, man. I mean, the news probably has more action in it than the actual fight that we're gonna have tomorrow night. But yeah, let's do a quick recap first, man.
All right, probably the biggest fight of last weekend, especially over here, Ryan Burnett versus Lee Haskins for the IBF bantamweight title. I kind of predicted the week before. I thought this might be, Burnett's step-up fight where we got kind of see the best of him, and we kind of did. I was disappointed with Haskins, but Burnett, he did what he had to do, really, and I thought it would be a bit more competitive, but he won with quite ease.
I mean, I think we can all agree, Cam, that Haskins probably has to be one of the worst champions. Well, I can't even really call him a champion because I don't even know what that belt means that he has, or had, I should say. But the fight itself, I mean, they hyped it up quite nicely with a tagline called Belfast Boy, but it wasn't exactly sold out, was it? The crowd wasn't exactly there. I don't know how big Burnett is over there, but he certainly ain't no Carl Frampton in terms of popularity, that's for sure. Yeah. I don't know if that's still coming, if Heron's going to work his magic now that he has a title, but I also think he doesn't have the same talent. I think Frampton's a fantastic fighter. Burnett is, I don't know, man. I was really, really annoyed with this fight. I did not like the action that was going on. I thought it was very sloppy, very messy. You like to use the term scrappy a lot of times for this type of, visual, but I did not. I don't even think that does it justice, to be honest. I mean, it was very crap, to be honest, Karen. I really, really did not enjoy it. I thought Burnett, he kind of acts slick with his hands down and then jumps forward and then tries to throw a punch, but ultimately ends up in a clinch. I thought he had a very, very poor sense of distance. What about you?
That's fair. Like when he was stepping in, like the cuts on Haskins, I know I said it the week before that he is prone to cut because of his style himself, but I think most of these were caused by Burnett kind of jumping in and getting really close with the heads. I think you're right. This gauge of distance was pretty poor. He was getting too close after he kind of shot that lead right hand, which was working for him because it kind of negated whatever Haskins was trying to do. He was trying to do that counter right hook, and yeah, props to Burnett. The lead right hand worked well, and he kept landing it all night. And I don't think he thought, well, why should I change my ways because what I'm doing now is working for me.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with you. Obviously, if you're winning with that fight and you're hitting your target, there's no point in changing anything. But I don't know, visually, I don't think it was an entertaining fight at all. It was funny though because if you read it on Twitter, apparently, according to a lot of people, it was a fucking tear up. Like if a lot of people, even from the Matchroom account, I can understand it, but I saw a lot of people fucking retweeting like, "Oh, what a war! What a tear up!" I'm like, I don't know. Just because a few people are cut up doesn't mean that it's an actual war.
Yeah, people see
very,
blood.
very poor fight, and I don't know what do you see now with Ryan Burnett? What do you think they're gonna do with this guy? I mean, I don't think there's a point in talking much about the fight itself, but how do you think they're gonna position him in the bantamweight division?
The thing about Hearn is most likely he'll just sit there in Ireland now and just bring, especially with IBF, you'll have a few mandatories that are not that good. Because when I look at IBF rankings, they're not the best. You probably have like a defense against Stewie Hall. and then maybe the thing is, like him and Paul Butler would be a good fight, but they're on the other side of the street. So unless, which there are rumors that deals are getting done now with BT and Sky sides. So there's talk about Butler versus McDonald. So if that fight can be made, why can't Butler versus Burnett get made? So hopefully there's some good fights out there. Tete's WBO, but he's with Frank Warren as well. That would be a good fight against Tete versus Burnett. So yeah, I think a couple defenses, and the only time he's going to have a hard fight is if someone becomes mandatory or he's going to try and unify.
I think Tete would fucking eat him up, right?
Yeah,
I think he'd box the shit out of him.
Yeah, the length would just be problems.
Yeah. I don't know, man. The most exciting thing about this whole shit for me was the title of the show, and then that was about it. So I think we can move on to one of the undercard fights. Jesus Christ.
Well, there's I don't want to spend too much on it, but yeah, you talk about Mike Perez, and you were very vocal to me on that Saturday about just the state of opponent.
Yeah, I mean, I've talked about this a lot, in boxing, and it's something, again, I was just so frustrated with, even though the fight is completely meaningless and it's not for a major title or whatever, but the fact that it's taken place, sometimes it really just agonizes me. I don't understand, why in boxing we need to have these type of opponents. I mean, you look at Mike Perez, and I don't want to talk about how he got in shape. My question marks around that, but he was in phenomenal shape. I mean, he looked spectacular as a cruiserweight. And I am genuinely excited to see what he will do in the division, but because he always was a talented guy, to be honest. He can box quite nicely, and now he's finding guys a bit more, accustomed to his size. But the guy that was in there, I mean, Cam, I've said this to you before as well, right? I'm sure if you go to any boxing gym, whether it's in England, whether it's in the Netherlands, whether it's in fucking Bulgaria, or if you go to Pulev's gym, for example, in Bulgaria, I'm pretty sure there are guys walking around, that will take a payday, that have a lot more skill and a lot more physical shape than the guy that was in the ring with fucking Perez. I don't understand it. There's no added value to it. It's dangerous. And it's there's really no point to it. Like, what is the point of doing this? Are you, quote unquote, staying active? No, you're not, because you really have somebody in front of you who's a fucking nobody, man. It really, really doesn't do anything for you. You could even see Mike Perez in his face, like he was a little deflated, like he was throwing one jab and the guy was already rocked all over the fucking place. It's like, what's the fucking point? Don't tell me that there's nobody that, in shape that can, that can fight and is willing to step in. I don't know how much this guy gets paid, but he's not an active fighter. He's not a guy that's active professionally on a proper level, on a like domestic / European level circuit, man. I don't understand. I've been to a few gyms. I've trained in a few gyms. I've seen guys that don't even fight pro that are in way fucking better shape than that. Way better technique, way more discipline. It just doesn't make sense to me, Cam. I mean, what's the gain here? Is it because these guys are willing to fight for like $50 or something like that?
I was going to say that, every conversation I have about the negative side of boxing, I always try to blame Eddie Hearn somehow. But in this instance, I do actually think that he's just paying guys pennies, and he might have offered that to guys in decent shape in British gyms or other European gyms, and they've turned it down because it's just pennies. So I think this dude's just, thought, I'm getting paid to go over there, I'll just do it. I just think that's what it is. He's not paying people enough, so so the quality that we're getting of opponent is terrible.
You think so? I mean, the weird thing is, right? I've noticed that now that I think about it, because I'm trying to find an answer to this, right? I think we maybe see it less in the States. Wouldn't you agree? I think there's obviously mismatches there as well, but And, you know, there are some exceptions at heavyweight, because at heavyweight you always get these appalling-looking figures that enter the ring somehow. But especially at more of the lower weights in the States, even if it's some, you know, a guy that we say, like, is a Mexican cab driver, they still have, you know, a semi-decent-looking record. They still have a little bit of, you know, technique sometimes. But in Europe, man, it's like they just, you know, went up to a music teacher at a school somewhere and be like, hey, do you want to get in the fucking ring for $500, you know? and it's like he just swings and there's no technique at all. It's, man, I really don't understand why there hasn't been like more tragedies in the ring because of something like this. I know sometimes when you get a clean knockout, you know, it's might be a little bit safer as opposed to taking a sustained beating, you know, like Nick Blackwell over 12 rounds.
Yeah.
But it's both scary and just so disappointing, man. I really don't get it.
Kimo,
I'm just baffled.
He was Universal Boxing Organization, the UBO, International Cruiserweight Champion. You know, he was a beast.
Yeah, but we don't know what that means, right? I mean, where was he from again? Slovakia or something?
Yeah.
I mean, for all we know, the UBO is some shady fucking bar in the capital of Slovakia, you know, where guys fucking drink and mafiosos like gamble on a fucking drunken bar fight with gloves, and they give that a title. We don't know what that is, you know. It's because that's what the guy looks like that he participates in. So it's sad, man. I know Mike Perez is an established fighter, so with him it probably doesn't affect him mentally as much. But for a young guy, and another example is that dude that Boy Jones fought the other week, you know, with the this small skinny brown dude with like man boobs as well. Like, he looked like a fucking gamer, you know, and he just got in the ring and got absolutely fucking smashed by Boy Jones. And the problem is, like, Boy Jones is not an established fighter. He is a prospect, a very, very young prospect that's building up. And obviously he needs fights to build up his confidence. But this does nothing for him. If anything, it gives him a false sense of confidence, right? Because you're beating the shit out of nobodies and you think, like, oh, you're celebrating afterwards, like, oh, great, great. What does it do for you, man? It does absolutely nothing.
If anything, like you said, it works against you, because when you finally step up, you're not ready for it.
Cam, here's the thing, right? And I've talked to this before about you as well. Like, I've never fucking fought in a fight, but I've definitely sparred and done sparring matches and stuff like that. I've had days, you know, where I've gotten the shit beaten out of me by somebody who's fucking experienced, yeah. And then the next day, I could be matched up with somebody who just sparred for the first time in the gym. There's absolutely nothing that does for my confidence. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, I'm just schooling somebody who's the first time in the gym. You don't go hard anyway with that person. Yeah. But it's not like I'm walking away from that thinking, oh man, you know what? Now tomorrow I'm gonna go up to that experienced guy and beat the crap out of him. No, because everybody knows that it's a fucking farce. You know, it's make believe. You haven't really done anything. You haven't progressed your level as a fighter, right? So what's the point? I never understand pro fighters that beat the crap out of somebody like that and then celebrate afterwards as well. It's really, really strange. And with Perez didn't do that because you could see he was just disappointed. And I was happy actually to see that he wasn't delusional. But you know, I've seen so many guys do that and just, they're so pumped afterwards, you know, like David Hay after he beat the crap out of those two fucking bums. You know, it's like, what have you achieved? Are you really, really like believing now that you've achieved something? Like, you're a guy that has reached world title level. What's the benefit of doing this? Yeah, it's very strange, man. It's a really like weird topic for me to discuss because there's so many contradictions in it, and for some reason it's not changing anytime soon. And I don't know. I really, really, really don't get it. And I'd love sometimes, you know, to talk to somebody who is in this European pro circuit and really figure out how the fuck this works. Because I really wonder, like, how does Hearn come up with these guys, right? Does he go to a gym, or does he literally go to the local butcher and offer somebody a fight? I'm not joking. I want to know, like, where does he get these guys from, right?
Yeah. Scrapes the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah, well, it's very weird, Cam. I mean, it's literally, putting Manchester United up against a fucking local youth team. That's really the equivalent of it in terms of skill, except there's a life on the line. So it's a different story, but. Yeah, I've ranted enough about this, man. Is there anything you want to add to that?
There was just one other fight on that card that I wanted to quickly talk about: the James Tennyson versus Ryan Doyle. So Doyle was a late replacement. Tennyson's opponent, I don't know, pulled out a week before or something. But Doyle had a week, had a fight coming up a week later. So he was kind of in semi-decent shape, but the fight he was gonna have was a 6-rounder. So they put him in this fight with Tennyson, which is a 10-rounder. He was doing well, man. Like, the combination punching was good. The only negative really was there's two things you shouldn't really do in boxing, man. One is, have your hands low unless you've got amazing reflexes. And the other is like go back in straight lines. And he was doing both, man. He was going back in straight lines with his hands low, so he was getting caught with unnecessary shots. And he was doing real well until maybe the 5th, where he started to slow. He started to ship some shots from Tennyson, and then his corner retired him in the 6th. I think his nose might have went just before the retirement, but I just thought, if you're doing so well, you're on the stage, you're on Sky, you're on live TV, you might not be back in that position for a couple of years, if any at all. You might not be on TV again, and I just thought he could have just put a bit more effort in, because you can lose, but if you put on a great performance, like, it's going to help you in the future. And just to think, it's 6 rounds now, we were training for 6, and he's tired now, he's shipping some shots, let's stop the fight. I don't know, man. I don't think it's the right attitude to have.
Yeah, I didn't actually see this fight, Cam, but...
No, you did. I'm sure we were discussing it. You watched it.
Wait, what are you talking about? Are you talking about the shitty stoppage?
No, did the Ryan Doyle fight, where we were talking about while the fight was going on, where I said he was not far from me. Doyle's from Gorton in Manchester, and you know what you were saying, and you said he looks Italian. He had the Italian
shit!
shots.
I thought you were. Okay, hold on. I'm spacing out. Yes, no. I remember. Yeah, that was a very strange situation. I actually got pissed about it for some reason, because the guy was from your hometown, and I was rooting for him, but yeah, it was very. It's like an attitude where you have, like, okay, I'm just going to go in there, fucking throw down, and as soon as it doesn't go my way, then, I'm done.
Yeah, it's a shit attitude.
Yeah. It's very strange, man. It seems, we were talking, I remember our conversation now, we were actually, kind of concluding that it seems to be very common these days. I don't want to use the word quit a lot, but it seems to me that more and more fighters are just willing to, give it a go, and then just, if it doesn't go their way, I try my best.
Exactly.
Let's just give it up.
No, I agree. It's totally that. It's that. I'll see how it goes, and if it doesn't go my way, I've got an exit plan. But yeah, all right, let's move on. What else do you want to talk about?
Blame Kell Brook for that attitude these days, huh?
That's true. But there were a few other fights. I won't probably get into. Maybe save it if Neota's on the Monday show. There was Regis Prograis, who I saw against Joel Diaz, totally blitzed him in 2 rounds. And I've never seen Prograis before, but he impressed me. Good hand, good power in both hands, and he was calling people out as well in his post-fight interview. So that was good as well, because you don't really get that these days. What else? Bam Bam.
Yeah, I saw that knockout, by the way. Hamada texted me the other day. He's like, hey, Neota's boy got sparked. I'm like, what?
Had to watch it. What else did we have? Brandon Rios was back on, I think, Sunday night, weird night. I think he's a free agent. It was a PBC card. I don't know. His pressure and his volume got to his opponent. Alan Herrera, but I don't think he looked that great. He was fleshy, man. He was... if it wasn't the fact that he had a good chin and he could take Herrera's punches, man, he probably would have ended a lot differently. But I don't really see a future for him at 147.
He always looks fleshy though, right, Cam? I mean, he's never really looked the part. Again, very strange when you're a professional boxer, but I guess his diet is just fucking horrible. I hate to see a guy like Brandon Rios stick around for too much and just become completely punch drunk, but I'm not gonna lie. If they match him up with, with somebody like Victor Ortiz or Provodnikov or anything like that, I'll watch it. I'll fucking watch it because I know it'll be a tear up. But I don't know how much he's got left, man. He looked okay. He didn't look great, but he looked okay versus an opponent that he normally would take to school. But I don't know what his plans are in his career. He was gonna kind of retire, and then he comes back with a different trainer, and I don't know what if he really has a vision of where his career should go, or he's just fighting for the sake of fighting. It kind of feels like he doesn't.
Yeah, I'm always dubious about that when someone retires, comes back with a whole different team, different manager, different promoter, different trainer. It's just the smell of people using him a bit.
Well, I think he's also the type of guy that's, he's not the smartest cookie in the world, obviously, and I don't think he really has anything else going for him in his life. He's not the type of guy like a Tim Bradley, for example, that could go and start doing commentating or has made enough money where he can comfortably retire. I think all he has in his life is boxing, and I think that will always be the case. And he's going to be a type of guy that's he's going to suffer, man, with his health later on because he won't be able to put the gloves down, honest to God, I mean, I don't know Rios personally, obviously, but I don't know what the fuck he would else do with his life, Like, the guy's a straight-up fighter, This is what he loves doing. He loves taking punches. So he's probably going to keep getting dragged into it. I just hope that, he has at least has some sort of plan of – obviously, I don't think he has – if he's smart, he's not really going to go for title shots. He's just going to match himself up with guys that they can really sell. Somebody like a Provodnikov, and they can put that shit on HBO, and he can make a quick buck for it. Make some decent money with it. Just do some exciting fights. But if he's going to go up against like titleists, he's going to get the living crap beaten out of him, and pretty badly. So. I hope he has a few fights where he can cash in, and then at least he'll have some money. Because apart from that, I don't think he has a big future ahead of him.
Yep, I agree. Should we move on, talk some news, and then get into the preview?
Yeah, man, let's do it.
I guess the biggest news, Kimo, you being a big UFC fan as well.
It's crazy. So we all know we've been boycotting it for a long time because it always seemed fiction. And now we've got it officially announced on Showtime pay-per-view.
I'm not really heard your opinion on it. Are you like gonna enjoy it, or what's your view on it?
I'm not happy with it at all, Cam. As most people know, I definitely enjoy MMA, and I'm a big fan of the sport. I'm not a casual. I follow it. I follow almost pretty much every fight, at least that the UFC puts out. And I love McGregor. I think he's a fantastic MMA fighter. He's a guy that I don't have the same opinion of as Floyd. Unlike Floyd, he's actually a fucking guy that takes on everybody in any fucking weight class. Knockout power, exciting fighter. Love his fucking trash talk. It's one of the greatest of all time. But he has no fucking business facing Floyd. I think this whole fight is a fabrication of the fucking mainstream media. People started talking about it when Conor blew up, and I don't know why. Nobody in boxing, that I respect, and nobody in MMA that I respect have any aspirations of seeing this fucking fight. It's really, the people, and I don't know if you know this guy, but like fucking people like Stephen A. Smith, these kind of mainstream fucking, pundits in the United States are talking about this. And then it became a global phenomenon. Then people at my fucking work all of a sudden start asking about Mayweather McGregor. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Why are people clamoring for this? It's really, really strange. And I guess the demand got so big that they, phoned each other up and like, hey, you want to make some fucking money? Let's do it. And I'm not happy with it all, Cam. I think the fight itself is going to be very disappointing. I think it's going to look like an exhibition fight. I don't think Floyd will go for the kill. I think he'll just outbox him, outmove him, school him, and McGregor will have a humble post-fight speech or whatever. The build-up will be fantastic, obviously. It will be a hype train, but afterwards, he'll give his respect, and he'll fuck off back to MMA with probably, $50 million more money in his pocket. It's a cash grab, Cam. What else can I say?
Yeah.
50? That's it?
That's it, man.
He's making a lot more than $50 million for this fight.
Who knows, man? I don't know the intricacies of how many pay-per-views this will sell, but at the end of the day, it's a fucking... Huh?
You're a dummy, bro. You've never been in the gyms, bro. I've been in the gym. I've been in the office meetings. I've given coffee to Dana White, dude. I know. Trust me, bro.
That's
but I think
illegal.
The hype for this fight is so much bigger and just more kind of like all-encompassing than Pacquiao Mayweather. There's just something about this fight. It really is true. It really does pull from both parties, from boxing and MMA, and I wouldn't be surprised if this does like 5 million pay-per-view buys, man. Like this thing is fucking insane. I mean, Mayweather Pacquiao, when they discussed it, there was always a hint of disappointment in it. There was always a hint that this fight has taken place too late. And even because I do consume a lot of kind of mainstream whether it be podcasts or TV, ESPN, whatever it may be. ESPN not so much anymore, but I mean, this is the first story that's being, taking place. And in any of those programs, Sports Center, fucking any podcast you can think of, it's Mayweather, McGregor. And it's a level of excitement that wasn't there with Mayweather Pacquiao. With Mayweather Pacquiao, it was just kind of like, this is a foregone conclusion. So, let's just discuss it out of necessity. Let's just discuss it out of due diligence. But this fight is just a different level of just like hoopla and excitement. And it's like one of those things, man, like, because, I mean, obviously we both follow MMA quite closely, and even hardcore MMA journalists like the much revered, Luke Thomas, the much revered Ariel Helwani, the much revered Sean Selby, and the list goes on and on and on and on. These guys, they still have this resigned sense of like excitement from the sense of just the spectacle. The grandness of this event is it's remarkable, man. And it just goes to show you how much Conor has achieved in that sport. Say what you want, but my God, this guy has pretty much made the UFC and their ownership just bend on their fucking knees and do whatever the fuck he wants. That's pretty amazing, man. And the fact that this fight has taken place so quick that it got signed and agreed upon in this short of a time span really makes you think, man, what the fuck was Mayweather Pacquiao, dude? This fight fucking took place in 4 or 5 months. Like, come on, man. So from that standpoint, I'm actually kind of okay with it because the turnaround is so short. We don't have to really deal with all this bullshit for, like 3, 4, 5 years like we had to do with Mayweather Pacquiao. So I don't care, man. It's going to be fun. It's going to be such a big event. It's going to be such a big event. I wouldn't be surprised if it does more than Mayweather Pacquiao.
I wouldn't be surprised either, but you keep saying, it's going to be a big event. It's going to be a big event. Yeah, but the aftermath is not going to be fucking pleasant, man. It's going to be fucking horrible. It can't be worse than Mayweather Pacquiao.
It can't be worse than Mayweather Pacquiao. And the reason why I say that was because Mayweather Pacquiao was actually a legitimate contest. And the fact that it sucked that much, the fact that, there was the lingering effects of that shit show of a fight in my mouth for like months and months and months afterwards, it was indefensible. Whereas this, it is defensible because sure, I might get caught up in the hype for maybe a day or two after watching, Conor highlight videos and workout videos. I mean, that's pretty much what I do every single day anyway. So it's not like it's much different than the routine. But what I'm trying to say is that at least with this fight, you kind of understand what it is and what it is on paper. But at the same time, there's still so many fans, casual fans, who are the complete opposite of us just because of the type of like draw that Conor is. Like Conor just makes people go retarded. He makes people say retarded things and makes just people believe in himself. He's just kind of that kind of person and that personality. And I don't know, man, I think that there might be a couple of instances of entertainment. At the same time, like I do think, Floyd being 40 years old and not having fought in 2 years, like it has to catch up at some point, man. So that's kind of what I'm hoping on.
Can I ask you a question?
You're drinking the fucking Kool-Aid. Go ahead, Cam.
Dude, shut the fuck up, man. I hate this guy. I mean, I don't know. What can I say, dude? I love Conor so much, and I'm just happy for him, man. I want him to make, $100 million which I think you should do, and just, live life and ball and post, inspiring Instagram pics and kind of like dictate the way I dress and talk, and I'll be happy for the rest of my life.
Why are you counting other guys' money, man?
Yeah, exactly.
He looks so good doing it, man. I mean, it's one thing when Floyd does it, but when Conor counts his money, it's so sexy. I don't know.
Dan, you said Floyd and Pacquiao lack something because of the years of build-up and the ages. Yes. Don't you think this lacks something because of Conor's boxing ability?
Yeah, of course it does. But what I'm trying to say is that fight was supposed to be one of boxing's most impressive just performances and contests of all time. With this one, it's the exact opposite, and you're absolutely correct. But because of that fact, it really shouldn't disappoint as much as that fight did, as long as you understand what you're getting yourself into.
But people don't. That's the problem. Otherwise, there wouldn't be such a...
Obviously, but I'm referring to us, and just from our consumership. Like, that fight was disappointing for all parties involved. Does that make sense? This fight is just disappointing for the casual fans, which I understand probably isn't that big of a discrepancy in terms of actual population size, but I still think that's an important difference.
I don't know, man. I even if you're realistic about, the skill set that both of these guys have, I still don't think that we're going to see something that some people are maybe hoping for. I think a lot of boxing fans, for example, are hoping that McGregor gets knocked the fuck out. But I don't think that's going to happen, man. I honestly, this feels like such a cash grab to me. I would not be surprised if Floyd and Conor are just going to spar, man. And it's just going to be a 12-round exhibition fest, And then at the end of the day, everybody that got so fucking pumped and paid their 5,000 fucking tickets, are going to be like, did we just watch guys just shadow box a bit in the ring, and that's what I honestly feel is going to happen. I could be wrong, right? Because Conor has such a fucking...
No, I don't think you're wrong, but just the basis of my argument, though, was the fact that Mayweather versus Pacquiao was supposed to legitimize something, right? It was supposed to say something bigger about the sport. It was supposed to tell us, like, without a doubt, who was a person of that decade for that sport, whereas this fight it's just a shit show. It's a spectacle. It's like, this is not a good analogy, but it's like, if I hired an escort for a day, it's just me, like Mayweather, McGregor is just saying, oh, I'm just going to have some fun. I'm just going to do some wild shit. I might eat some ass. I might do some crazy shit. Whereas Mayweather Pacquiao is like, you thought you were going to fall in love with this woman, and then she just ends up breaking your heart. It's just the ramifications of it are so much greater and deeper because it's a legitimate contest. And then that's it. That's the only difference,
I don't know, Lim. I'm worried about this because, you and I are rational people, well, most of the times, but there's a lot of people that are going to be so fucking retarded coming out of this. You're going to have the audience that are going to be like, boxing's better than MMA, and then you're going to have the fucking audience that doesn't understand what the fuck just happened because they thought that this was a legit contest. I think there's a lot of fucking people that are just eating this shit up. Surprisingly, in some mainstream channels, I've seen some realistic, predictions like Teddy Atlas and Kellerman and all of that. But I think once this hype train gets going, and you know how Conor is, because that motherfucker is so good at promoting. It's crazy. It's like you say, there's something about him that makes people go retarded. And that's going to go in full swing, and then you have the whole, Floyd backing, which is still very much existent, that waved the flag of the TBE. It's just going to be one big shit show, and such a massive build-up that's just going to implode come fight night. I mean, a part of me is quite curious how it's going to play out, but it's not going to do the sport much good. And, Lim, do you think they kind of fucked Canelo Golovkin by going on the end of August?
Of course it did. That's why De La Hoya was on ESPN and all these shows. Guys, this is not a real fight. You cannot watch it. Do not support it. When I said Canelo should fight McGregor, I was just kidding. That was just me, just on drugs, and I didn't get any sleep that day. But no, this one, you guys, you just can't support it. I'm like, shut the fuck up, Oscar. You're just worried that this fight is gonna probably take away maybe not half, but I'd say a substantial amount of buys. I mean, people get fucking I think bored of stuff, and especially with this fight, I think it's going to be like you said, a sparring match. So people are just going to be naturally disappointed, and then that's going to carry over, I think, into people just not buying this fight, even though that's totally not fair, obviously, since Golovkin-Canelo is a completely legitimate fight that is more, worthy of the pay-per-view billing, but that's just the way that people's minds work, and I'm telling you, man, this fight is so huge, and I'm not trying to be an asshole right now and say you guys don't, understand the context of the situation because you don't live here, but, that's all anyone's talking about right now is Mayweather-McGregor, and I'm stunned. I'm just so stunned that people are actually that excited about it.
Oh, dude, even in my company, right, I've got, and I work in, an international community, right? So I've got a guy from Russia, I've got a guy from fucking India, and both of them are random colleagues of mine. Oh, they're gonna fight Mayweather-McGregor. Everybody is talking about this shit, and I live in the freaking Middle East. It's gonna do crazy on a global scale, obviously, but
yeah.
Damn, just
dude, honestly,
getting mic noise.
I don't even. Oh no, I'm so sorry. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, just getting mic noise off you. I don't know if it's if you're walking and there's wind blowing on the microphone, or if it's just touching your shirt or something.
Yeah, I'm kind of hot and bothered right now just talking about Connor, man. I'm so sorry. Just doing some gator crawls. But just a touch butt in the desert heat right now. I don't know what can I say. I was just gonna say that's a perfect segue because I'm excited just to see Connor in his underwear and a couple times and doing some workouts and see him weigh in. That's all I care about. I'd pay $1,000 just to see that. So I'm just excited to see Connor back in the fold.
Cam, what are your thoughts on it, man? You've let us ramble on, but are you even remotely curious?
I echo your sentiments mainly. I understand why it's happened. There was just too much money on the table for it not to happen. But I just think it's going to be one of these circus fights. There's going to be so much drama and excitement beforehand in the press conferences. The press conferences will probably be much better than the fight itself because from the sparring footage I've seen of Conor, stand-up boxing, nah, it's not really his forte, man. And I think Floyd should win quite easy and convincingly, so...
How dare you?
I apologize. And I like Conor, man. Lim knows this. I'm a big reader and follower of the law of attraction, and he's a big advocate of that. And I love his positivity and how he kind of visualizes his successes and all that. But when it comes to this, man, I think he's out of his depths. If he thinks that he's going to beat Floyd, unless Floyd does a David Haye and gets injured in the ring or some shit like that. That's the only way I see Conor winning.
That would be quite an upset, wouldn't it, if he got injured in the ring and then Conor wins? Imagine the shit show if that happened.
That'd be crazy.
Oh, good lord. Let's not hope that, by the way, because that means we're going to get a rematch as well.
That's true. But
Jesus Christ.
There is one positive thing to take away from the fight, is because it's so close to Triple G Canelo, all the fucktards will be concentrating on this fight, and we'll only have a month's worth of nonsense on Twitter from Canelo fanboys and Triple G fanboys. So it has limited the bullshit we're going to see on Twitter from those guys.
Yeah, no, you're just happy that tickets are going to be cheaper because you're a poor bum.
I don't think they will, man. The Mexicans still know what's up, man. They're going to come out for this.
No, but it is going to have some kind of impact, I think, on tickets and hotels.
On the gate? I don't think so.
Maybe. Yeah, you're right. Maybe not so much on the gate, but definitely for the pay-per-view buys. So.
I mean, what's the capacity of the T-Mobile?
20. Why'd you say it like that? T-Mobile?
I don't know, man. I've been doing German accents before.
22,000.
22. Oh, that's surprisingly big, actually.
Yeah, 22K, bro.
No, we'll see. We'll see.
It's just about the numbers, bro. I'm all about the numbers.
Yeah, it is all about the numbers.
The numbers, yeah.
But Floyd should watch out, though, because Conor will fucking eat him up if they start exchanging words.
I know. He's gonna talk about his domestic abuse, and Floyd's just gonna be stuttering like an idiot. I don't know. Yeah, I'm kind of really surprised too that Floyd acquiesced to the fight taking place at 154. You know, I was not expecting that at all.
Yeah, I don't think he sees the need to just drain Conor out, man. Again, he's fighting a guy who's 0-0, in boxing, so he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, just
I know, like it could have been another just insane advantage. Conor having a drain in the 147, like that'd be fucking insane.
He could do it. He's done it. He's done.
What would be like?
I know we won't discuss this on this show, obviously, because this is just a sport about boxing and all the bumminess that boxing entails. But I just hope Conor doesn't retire after this. In terms of both sports, because some of the best nights of my life were Conor fights. So
come on, bro. How can it be the bumminess of boxing when boxing is having an amazing year, and you've said it yourself to me that UFC is having a terrible year?
Yeah, I choose to have a holistic and more comprehensive outlook on life in general. So I'm sorry if I don't subscribe to your level of bumminess when it comes to judging things. I'm just a more smarter person when it comes to things like that.
God, you've really become fucking annoying with the announcement of this fight, man.
Oh shit! I can't wait, man. I already got my 2 days booked in August with my points. I got points, so I'll be there cheering for Conor like I always do, because Conor's daddy.
All right.
You're actually gonna try to get tickets to this? Wow.
I don't know. Probably not. If it's like over like $1,000, nah. Holy
it's going to be
fuck.
nearly impossible to get tickets, man.
No, I hear you. But tickets do always get cheaper on the day of. I kid you not. You can find pretty decent tickets always on the day of.
Yo, Kimo, Danny Yankee just mentioned it, and I just checked up on it, that Cotto's fighting Komagai on the same day. No one's going to be watching that shit.
Yeah, true. Yeah. I guess the mainstream public will go to the McGregor Floyd fight, and the real boxing fans will go to I think it's StubHub, right, where they're fighting.
Yeah. Real boxing fans?
Yeah, man. Like,
dude, if you're a real boxing fan, you should not go to that fight
to see Komagai.
I mean, seriously, man. I'd rather do some fucking. I can't even just say something than going to Komagai Cotto. I'm like, come on, dude. That's a terrible fight.
He's fucking done, man. Cam, I know he's one of your favorites, but god damn it, he needs to fucking retire. I'm sick of him.
I've recycled all mine. Khan's off there. Cotto's off there, man. I started afresh.
Khan's gone. Cotto's gone. Who's left, man?
Canelo.
Nah, I'm mixed with Canelo. Lomo's on there. But that's about it these days.
Yeah, man. All right. Well, shall we move on from this trashy affair and go to something else?
Yeah, because Dan's been unbearable, so we need to move on, I think.
Yeah.
Where do you want to go to next, Kimo?
What else do we have? Did you guys talk about Garcia Broner already? I think you did, right?
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Dan, we're getting some noise off your mic. I don't know what it is.
All right.
Dude, I'm so sorry, man. I'm trying to pick up Abe from the airport right now, and I've circled around the airport like 4 times, dude.
Abe is a bit slow, man. You need to be patient.
Man, you set it up.
You might have to go get a trolley to pick him up as well, because he doesn't like walking. So.
Dude,
Abe, I miss him. Anyway, Cam, what do you want to get into, man? You want to talk about this Eubank pay-per-view that's getting absolutely stacked and just shitting all over the fucking Matchroom cards?
Yeah, so the fight itself, Eubank Jr. versus Abraham, it's okay. It's not pay-per-view worthy, but what else is on there now? Kid Galahad versus Dennis Salin, who we've seen a few times. He fought 2 British guys, Isaac Lowe in his last fight, which was a technical decision or a draw, I think, because of the head clash. And before that, he beat Ryan Walsh. on a split decision. So that's not a bad undercard fight to have. That's at featherweight, if I'm correct. And what else has got added? Was it today? Lee Selby versus Jonathan Victor Barros. Finally, hopefully it might happen, fingers crossed.
What do you mean finally?
Well, it was supposed to happen last year, wasn't it? And Barros, did he have, hepatitis or something, and he got pulled out or something?
Oh, damn. Oh, I remember this now, actually. Yeah. Okay. That seems like a fucking long time ago. Yeah, but, I mean, are you pumped about this or what? He's not that great of a fighter, Barros.
I'm not too big on Selby anymore. I think he had opportunities to kind of step up and show what people he can do, and when he's been on like high profile fights, and he's kind of gone backwards since he won the title.
I think backwards is an understatement, Cam. He's one of the biggest disappointments for me in British boxing. I really thought that this guy actually was underrated, and we were hyping him obviously a little bit for jokes, but a lot of people always shouting at him because of his punching power, because they call him the Welsh Mayweather and all of this. But I honestly thought like he was a legit, like world level guy that could go far. And there was some excitement when he beat that fucking Russian dude. What's his name again? God damn it, the Robert Garcia fighter. I forgot his name.
Oh, Evgeny Gradovich.
Yes, thank you, Gradovich. When he beat Gradovich, he TKO'd him, right? I was like, oh, this is really exciting. And then afterwards, it's just been complete dog shit, man. I mean, he was struggling with Montiel.
He got dropped against Eric Hunter.
Yeah, he got dropped big time against Eric Hunter, and then kind of just, quote unquote, boxed himself to a decision. But it was an impressive performance. And then the other fight was against a fucking nobody, and now we're gonna get Barros, which, I mean, I'm a bit neutral about it, Cam. It's not really the type of fight that I want to see. I want to see Selby in big fights. Even at a domestic level, there's big opportunities for him, but nothing's fucking happening. And I'm not only blaming him, because obviously I don't know what goes on in the background, but he's just been inactive as well.
It seems like he was getting close with Cyclone and McGuigan's and stuff, and it looked like maybe that fight was on the horizon, and obviously Frampton announced his opponent for his July fight this week, and he came out and said that, negotiation-wise, they're really hard to work with, Selby and his team, so it just seems like they're very awkward in the ring and out the ring as well.
But is he still with Heyman or what? He's under Heyman, right?
As far as I know, he's still with Heyman.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised though, right? The guy joins Al Heyman's stable, and all of a sudden he becomes inactive. Like, I'm really, really not fucking surprised. It just happens with a lot of fighters, right? What the fuck is happening to Danny Jacobs? They had a fantastic performance, and now he's just in the middle of nowhere again. And just like so many others, where the fuck is Lamont Peterson? Where are all these guys, man? It's just fucking ridiculous, man. I don't know. We've shat on Heyman for a long, long time, and this just proves it again. And yeah. It's nice to have him on an undercard of a Eubank pay-per-view as a bonus, but he needs to look impressive, man. That's what he needs to do. He needs to get his swagger back. I think that's most important, because I don't think his confidence is very high at the moment either, because he hasn't had very impressive performances.
And I think he's been getting a lot of stick as well, and I think he wants to prove himself. Because sometimes there was a spurt a few weeks ago when he was, quoting retweets, and like there was a lot of negativity where he was replying to and stuff. So I think people are frustrated the fact that he's not really pushed onwards.
Well, I hope he's frustrated himself and he takes charge of his goddamn career, just like every boxer should, But yeah, I don't know what his outlook is, Cam. Let's hope this fight is the start of some momentum, because I'd still love to see this guy get some excitement back again.
Me too.
You hate Selby. You've always hated him.
I do. You can't remember the Luigi-looking motherfucker. That's the only kind of like recollection I have of a Selby fight. And Selby just stained himself forever for me in that fight where he was just pity-patting this guy for like 30 punches in a row, and he was begging the ref stop the fight. After that, I was like, you ain't shit, dude. Fuck you. I'm done with you, man. I can't. No, but I still thought he was good. You know, even though I wasn't a fan of him. I thought he was going to be pretty good just because of his size. I thought he was going to be problematic for a lot of guys at that weight class. But I mean, if you're continuing to have these lackluster performances, I do think it does say something about your talent level. I mean, one fight is okay. You know, when Frampton had that fight against that Mexican guy in Texas, like that was understandable. You know, that happens from time to time. But to have that, you know, on 2 to 3 occasions consecutively is a different story.
I think it's fair criticism, by the way. I do think he is capable of punching with more conviction, but he just chooses to do these really, really flashy, you know, shoe shine combinations. Especially when you have a guy in front of you that's not under your level, just fucking take him out, you know? Just fucking end it. You have the capability to do it.
Yeah. I prefer you throw less shots and just put more weight on the ones you're throwing.
Yeah,
rather
man.
than throw 5, just throw 3 with more intent.
Well, go to the body.
Go to the body.
Yeah.
Chemo, you have to give us that German accent in a bit because it was amazing.
IFL TV. What was that?
Can we talk about the Frampton fight?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, man. Belfast.
Hanrise.
Go ahead.
What happened to Leo? He's fighting Maris, right? So he just didn't want to come over to Belfast to potentially get his Hanrised?
Seems so.
Was that even on the table? I don't know if they wanted to do a trilogy. I'm happy they didn't, actually.
I am too.
Yeah, but who is this guy? No, I am as well, but who is this guy that he's fighting?
He's an experienced guy, but he's not on his level. He's actually quite young, but has an experienced record.
Does he remind you of anyone? Like, if you had to give me like a stylistic, you know, comparison.
Avalos.
Okay. But
no, to be honest, Liv, I'm bullshitting. I haven't even seen him fight, so I really wouldn't know. I need to YouTube a few fights, see what he's like, but his record tells me that he's not on Frampton's level.
Frampton's level.
He's a stay busy fight, but he's a passable stay busy fight. Let me put it that way. He's not a complete fucking bum.
Understood. Okay, that's fair. Okay, anything else, Kim? You want to discuss?
You wanted to talk about this fight. Is that you don't have anything else to say?
Yeah, I was thinking about doing an impression, but my voice is kind of hoarse right now. I don't think I can do a good one, so let's just move on.
Has Abe come out the airport yet? Or?
No, dude. Oh my gosh, it's my 7th revolution, if you will. I don't know.
You're going to get stopped by the police soon.
I'm driving fucking around, man. People are looking at me like I'm fucking crazy, dude. And plus,
you're getting away with it. You're getting away with it because you're Asian. If that was me, I would have been fucking pulled over ASAP.
Oh my god. Ugh. The EDC weekend camp. Oh, Jesus Christ. Anyways, yeah, I'm just trying to find a big old Mexican person in a sea of, you know, white girls with flowers in their hair, but it's a little bit more challenging than I thought.
That'd be quite easy. But yo, Lim, what's your thoughts on
he's probably just chatting somebody up at a fucking coffee shop somewhere while you're waiting.
But no. Anyways, I think one thing I wanted to discuss, if you guys can, is the the Joshua, the Klitschko, like, is what's.
Seems like we're just waiting.
Did he drop off or what?
He's still on the line, but maybe his line's cut off. But
yeah, I mean, it's. I think it's getting there, right, Cam? I think they're close to finalizing it, but they just need to apparently agree on a location when we all know what it's going to be.
Is it going to be? It can't be Wembley though, right? In November.
No.
No, it has to be something that can be closed off, right, Cam?
Yeah, Millennium Stadium in Cardiff, Wales, that has a roof. So in the UK, that'll most likely be the best option unless they had it in the indoor arena like O2 or Manchester or something like
that. Yeah.
I think it's a bit small. How much is the capacity for Cardiff?
at the full stadium.
Yeah.
I think it's like equaling Wembley as far as I know. I'm not 100% sure. Let me just Google it.
I should probably do that, man. I think O2 is a bit, again, this is such a massive rematch. I don't think you can do it in like an O2, man. The capacity in Millennium Stadium is
74.
57. Yeah, sorry, 75.
Yeah, and then you'll have the floor seats as well, which will bump that up.
Yeah, that might be a new record, bro.
I don't think it'll touch 90, but it would do pretty high. Yeah, from what I'm hearing is they're just waiting on Vlad. I think Vlad's got like 2 weeks now, whether he wants to decide to do it or not. But Kimo, you trolled me pretty good the other day. I was driving to Nottingham, and Scores was with me, and just in the corner of my eye on my phone, on that was stuck to the windscreen. Yes, officer, I wasn't holding my phone. Little message pops up. Kimo saying that the rematch is happening in Nigeria. So me and Scores have like a 15-minute conversation about it. And then I find out you were trolling me, so thank you for that.
You actually thought it was happening in Nigeria?
Yeah, but I just saw that, like, the message in the corner of my eye, so I thought, oh, maybe Kimo got some breaking news, maybe, like, because obviously I didn't pull over to check or boxing scene or anything like that, so I just may assume maybe, like, he's taking it home, you know, back to the motherland.
That's fucking hilarious. But the fact that you actually believe that. No. Hearn was fucking, I don't know, man. He was obviously trolling, but he started to seriously talk about it in one of his interviews where he's like, oh, yeah, people are underestimating Nigeria as a country. You know, they're actually quite wealthy and they have the infrastructure to put up big events. And I'm thinking, like, what the fuck are you talking about? You are never going to bring Joshua over there. You know, this is not going to be this is not even going to be in Germany. This is going to be in the UK, period. So he even talked about Dubai.
Yeah. What about that super fight, blood?
Huh?
What about that super fight that we've been promised for years?
It's never happening. And to be honest, it's funny because he actually said something which is kind of semi-true, is that there's a lot of talk sometimes in this region about bringing certain events there, and when it comes to actually, you know, doing something about it, unless there's somebody really behind it that's driving it, like, you know, that's probably how the Formula One got brought over to Abu Dhabi, right? There's probably one guy in royalty somewhere who's a massive fucking diehard Formula One fan and enthusiast, and he's like, okay, fuck this, we're gonna bring this over, and then it happens, you know. But I don't know if there's a person like that here that loves boxing as much. Otherwise, it would be legit, but no. We've had so many disappointments now. It's really not going to happen. So my bet would be UK, and then, like you said, probably Millennium Stadium or a big indoor arena, and just make another shitload of money. And by the way, I'm pretty okay with a rematch. What about you, Cam?
I'm happy with it. I think I said afterwards that if it does happen, I think Josh will win easier the second time. I think what he learned in the first fight, I can't really see Vlad offering any more, and the fact that he got hurt multiple times and he got stopped, I think that will be in the back of his mind, and he'll be less offensive than he was in the first fight. So I think Josh should win a bit easier.
Yeah, I have a feeling though it won't be another boring fight, because Joshua tends to be in exciting fights, and that's kind of what I like about him. You know, even though a lot of people hate on him for various reasons, he is always in exciting fights. He's not the type of guy that, you know, can put on a Mayweather type of performance. You know, he's his frame, his mindset, you know, everything about him, physically and mentally, always kind of leads to exciting fights. And he's a vulnerable champion, you know, which is always fun to have. I love that about him. So I really don't mind, but afterwards, I would honestly like to see Wilder, obviously. And I hope they don't push that Pulev fight after this, man. God damn it, that guy's fucking useless. I see no point of having it, but...
Bro, but he's mandatory?
I know he's mandatory, but, I mean, come on, man. How did he get a mandatory position? By doing what?
Beating up bums?
By getting knocked the fuck out by Vlad, man, with a beautiful left hook.
Come on, bro, that was a couple of years ago now.
Yeah, but what has he done since? He hasn't done anything to fucking deserve another shot. The division is so goddamn shallow that this guy ends up in the rankings again.
Come on, bro.
Beast Mode says Pulev's not that bad.
He stopped Samuel Peters in 3 rounds. Yeah, he beat up Derek Chisora. He went 12 with Kevin Johnson, which was a bad look, to be honest. That was terrible.
All washed up guys.
Yeah, he has gone backwards, to be honest. But I agree with Beast Mode. I think as a fighter, he's not bad.
He's not bad, but he's not good. He's just kind of in between, floating around. I don't know. What else?
Kurt Sedes, the Russian gangster.
Yeah, that guy was charged for some legit shit, man. Maybe Billy Joe should be happy that he's not going to end up fighting him, because if he came over with his crew over to London, who knows what would happen, man. That guy's in some fucked up shit.
I bet Billy Joe's regretting and calling like pumped up Danny DeVito and all that shit now, isn't it? I bet he's like watching over his shoulder constantly now. Like, shit, man, who's going to come after me?
Well, he always seems like such a friendly, smiling guy, you know. Even at the presser, he's just sitting there, happy, smiling.
They're the craziest motherfuckers, though, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly, man. He'll smile at you, and the next day he'll do a fucking drive-by. It's like you got to be a bit careful. But I mean, apart from the entertainment value of him getting arrested, it's fucking annoying that Billy Joe is going to skip another fight. I mean, this guy has the worst career progression ever, man. Yeah. And people are going to say, oh, it's bad luck, but I don't know. He needs to replace him with somebody legit, okay? We can't keep fucking around with this guy. Fair enough, it's bad luck that Kurt Seedy specifically cannot make the fight, but that's not an excuse to now sit on the fucking bench for another 2 years, Cam, you know what I mean? No. Fucking fight the next guy that's in line, period.
I agree, or just make a big fight. You know, they got the backing of BT Sport. Like, bring Jacobs over, or if he's willing to travel, or someone good. Like, they need to do that, because we're talking about Selby going backwards, but the same has to be said about Saunders. Like, since he beat Andy Lee, which wasn't a great fight in the first place, like, he's really gone backwards. Like, missed weight, or said he's got injured, but most people presumed it was he wasn't on weight, so they pushed it back. Blah blah blah. Poor performances. Yeah, he needs to push on now, because he's very skillful, man. He just hasn't got the dedication at times, man. Like, we've seen hit some of those photos before his last fight where he was massive, man.
Mate, this guy he's been fat, out of shape, no interest in his career. He just doesn't live the life, and I truly, think he's the type of guy that you give him a little bit of money and he's just gonna fucking mellow out. He doesn't have the desire to do anything with his career. I mean, he only took this Kurt Sedes fight because he got forced into it, right? So I don't know. On the one hand, I don't really care that much about him because I've never liked him as a fighter. But on the other hand, I do want to see him in a legit fight and just do something about that goddamn belt that he's holding hostage. So I hope so, man. I hope so. Do you know who the next guy in line is on his on the rankings for his belt?
Well, you're talking about Kurt Sedes, but initially you said he doesn't want to fight any decent. Like, Kurt Sedes got step aside, and he ended up getting a big chunk of money from what I heard. And he fought Tommy Langford, and he got that stoppage, and then really, unless they wanted to give him a step aside again, they had to fight him. It looked like they wanted to fight Triple G, and then it looked like Triple G wanted to fight him and pick up the belt, but then it seemed like Golden Boy put the pressure on Triple G not to fight before their fight, so there was loads of shit going on here and there, and it kind of fucked a lot of things up. But looking at WBO's rankings, let me just give me a sec.
Yeah, I was about to Google it as well, because I'm actually quite curious.
Canelo's up there, Lemieux's up there, Murata, who just recently lost to Endam, Willie Monroe's up there in 5th, Rob Brandt in 4th, Langford's still up there, but he'll probably drop after a while. Maybe they're not updated the rankings. Liam Smith's up there, but yeah, I won't mind seeing like Willie Monroe, Jacobs. Yeah, that's about it, really.
Well, even Lemieux is good for me, and I know Lemieux would probably fuck him up, but I'm really skeptical that he'll take any of these fights, man.
Yeah,
And Jacobs ain't gonna come over for peanuts,
That's true. He's gonna end up fighting.
I don't know. Warren's gonna have to go deep into his pockets to bring Jacobs over.
Yeah, you're right, man. He's gonna fight someone like fucking Rafael Bejarin, who's number 14, and I've never heard of him. So if that's his opponent, then there we go. But just quickly, I said like Kurt Seeley's like a Russian gangster. I know he's from Georgia. I just meant that the syndicate that he's apparently running with was Russian. So just to correct myself. But yeah, crazy charges, Chemo. Let's just hope that if it is some bullshit, he gets away with it. But if he has been doing some of that shit, well, that's on his own head then.
From what I've read, Cam, and from the TV shows that I've watched, this is me being a criminal investigator on my couch. That shit is fucking legit. What he got charged for. I mean, I read something about it being a RICO case, and that's something around guns and fucking extortion and shit that's been building up over time. So he's fucked probably. This is not. He didn't get just pulled over for drunk driving. You know what I mean? This is like stuff that proper mobs get charged for. And I only know that from Sons of Anarchy, but it does sound like he's like he's gone for a while. So he can go box in prison, man.
Yeah, I don't know if you can hear it, but I got like sirens. Maybe they're after me as well. But yeah. Anything else, Chemo? I'm just looking at what else we news-wise. Frampton we kind of discussed.
God, there was so much going on this week. I'm trying to remember if there was anything else that we didn't cover. Obviously, there were some of the antics around the Kovalev Ward press conference. Maybe we should leave that until we segue into the actual prediction of it. What else? I think that's it, man. Was there anything else that I missed?
I'm pretty much done, I think. And
yeah,
Leon's joined the line, and I think he's only got 10 minutes because I think he's only got 10 minutes with his phone until his wife takes it away. Leon, what's happening? Oh, he just dropped off. Maybe she took it away.
Oh, Daddy Yankee just mentioned it. Wilder, that's the one I was missed out. Wilder got arrested for weed. I mean, what the fuck, man? I mean, I do like it, but
you can relate.
No, I've never got arrested for that. But
no, I mean just for the type of drug.
Well, Wilder looks like the type of guy that enjoys a nice spliff once in a while. But I mean, okay, fair enough, it's funny. But again, another guy that's just sitting around doing nothing. Is he still recovering from surgery, or what's going on?
No, I think he's good. I don't think after that last fight, I don't think he got injured after he was swinging away.
So why the fuck isn't he doing something, man? God damn it. Anyway, Cam, let's move on and talk about some active guys, man. Do you want to get into a prediction for Ward Kovalev?
I do indeed, but Leon's jumped on and his time may be limited, so we'll go to him first.
All right, let's go to this fucking loser first.
Leon.
Fuck you, Chemo.
All right.
Yes.
Yes. Do you want to talk about Smith or do you want to talk about Ward Kovalev?
Smith looked horrible. He might gas and get knocked out. That's what I'm hoping for.
Fingers crossed.
I thought he looked pretty good, man.
Do you? Well, I thought
honestly,
he looked
I watched his walk to the scale. He looked good. He looked energetic.
A hairy body can cover a lot of flabbiness.
Yeah, he looked gaunt, man. I thought, but let's see. That guy's got some good. I was talking about it with some people, and that's his main attribute. That Zuega is that he's got quite reasonably good output. So it's not like Smith is going to be able to do what he did with Abraham and nick rounds because of Abraham's low output. So I just, I don't know. I don't see him winning that fight, but it's closer than any of his other shots. So he could do the unthinkable, couldn't he?
I don't know, man. I hope this. I haven't seen much of this Zuega guy, or Zuega, as I should say. But I mean, he's younger. He's probably a better fighter. He's faster. He's got better output. I mean,
but we're not talking about this. Like, this is not world level shit, is it? This is like Euro level stuff, really. It might have a belt attached to it because he's not that. His resume is just as horrible as Smith's, which is like you go through. If you take some time to look at that resume, it is fucking trash. Paul Smith's resume is like shockingly bad. Like,
no, it's horrible. I mean, he's got good names, but he's lost all of the good names.
And dramatically, in early fights, that's he got brutally knocked out early on, didn't he? So I mean, I think it speaks to how Abraham is as a fighter that he was even close in that first fight.
Well, he keeps saying how he was robbed and how he was this and how he was that, but at the end of the day, Abraham gave him the fucking rematch and then took him out.
Beat him. Yeah,
beat the shit out of him. So what else do you want? It's not like he didn't rectify or validated the decision of the first fight. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but Kimo, if it was an Anfield, it would have been a different story.
Yeah, Anfield, man. Don't get me started on this fucking
did you listen?
Bullshit.
I listened to a bit of that interview, man. That guy who was asking the questions was fucking horrible, man, wasn't he?
He was a fucking casual, and he was just sucking up to Smith anyway. Otherwise, he would have never done the interview with him, right? But
I just think it's just him all over. It's like he talks for ages about, like you say, you talk about acting. I just like skip to the bit about blocking people, and it's like how everyone's a troll. It's like we might be trollish, but with the things with this fight, it's about the sport. That's the big thing we're saying. But we're all written off as trolls.
I mean, he's just so utterly delusional about it. And one thing that kind of makes me think that he's going to get a rude awakening on Saturday because he's with a younger, fresher, stronger guy as well. But also his mindset is not where it should be for a guy that's in his position. Like, he is already talking about doing a stadium fight with his belt with the four Smith brothers in Anfield. It's like, why are you even thinking about that? First of all, you haven't fucking performed once, in your life when it mattered. Why aren't you focusing on the fucking opportunity that was fucking given to you? Yeah, instead of talking about how you're going to do a stadium fight and have a big, I want big fights, I want grooves, I want this, what are you talking about?
But this guy has refused to fight for the last couple of years. He's turned fights down because he will only fight for a world title. I mean, what is that about, really?
Yeah, because
turning
he puts himself on this fucking level of entitlement. I don't know where it comes from, man. Maybe he got his fucking face smashed in too many times and he's become completely delusional, but
we would all rather see him fight Murray than go and fight for this belt, wouldn't we? Because that means something.
Even Rocky from Stocky?
Yeah, all of them would mean much more to us than fighting a guy who we've seen a bit of, but we don't know loads about in Germany. We'd much rather see him, those fights that are easy to make in-house and will probably make more money than going to Germany. But he's obsessed with this belt, and he doesn't realise that. I think I saw something on Twitter where some betting companies were saying we don't consider that winning a world title.
It's
not a world title.
Well, that betting company was Sky Bet.
I know.
So Sky's other arm don't consider a regular title as a world title. That was hilarious.
He wouldn't fight Martin Murray or these people unless there was a world title involved. I mean, he is delusional.
Mm. Yeah, he thinks he's on a certain level which he's not. And you can hear it the way that he talks in that interview. You can hear it the way he, kind of feels that he's entitled to this shot, as if he's not surrounded in the boxing community by guys who have also worked their entire life, who have also taken punches, who have struggled, who don't have fucking Hearn with a brown envelope going to the, what is this, WBA convention and fucking lobbying for a title shot, because that's literally what he admits in the interview as well. He says, my promoter went there and lobbied. I mean, if you use the word lobby, that's not a positive thing, you know what I mean?
That's a hugely negative thing.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, no, they don't get how the business works. Well,
political bribery.
Yeah, it's political bribery. Exactly, man. It's like, why are you saying as if we don't understand what the fuck is going on? Oh, we definitely understand what the fuck is going on. And your reasoning behind why you suddenly jumped in the fucking rankings was horseshit. Yeah? The explanation that he gave was complete fucking nonsense. Yeah? And even Hearn admitted on air that, yes, I can understand why people got pissed off because he suddenly popped up in the top 5 rankings. Hearn said that himself, but even Smith is too fucking delusional to understand that. I mean, he says, I should be in those rankings. I am top 10. The only reason why I was not there is because I didn't ask to be in there. I mean, how fucking mentally ill do you have to be?
Chemo, is Hearn gone to Germany? I haven't seen him. I thought London didn't even send not even a fucking runner out there with a camera. They got some local journalists to do it. They don't give a shit about
Carlos Gruber, who also covers Arthur Abraham fights.
That's awesome.
So, I mean, as for the fight, it's just some Euro level stuff. The thing I'd love him to get robbed again, then them to all kick off, and then just Jürgen Bremer just come out the other corner and just clean ice him. Because Bremer's in the corner, isn't he? He's a lunatic.
And that's happening every week these days. They're going to
behave themselves.
Yeah, exactly. That's happening every week these days. Like trainers or people from their sidelines coming out and hitting people. But what do you think?
I don't want him to get robbed. I want him to get clearly outboxed or knocked out so we don't have to hear about the robbery.
Yeah,
because that's what poisoned him last time.
What's your thoughts on the outcome? I think it'll be points. Like Zuega isn't really a massive puncher, and like Smith says, like you did 24 rounds with Abraham, you didn't really get hurt. So I think it'll go to points.
I'm keeping the faith and going for a late stoppage.
Well,
I think he'll gas.
Yeah. I think he's going to get beaten up, Cam, to be honest, because I was watching that interview after the weigh-in, and he's 34, man. He's taken a lot of damage in his career. I mean, you can only do this so many times. Yeah, he got cut up, and he's been also very inactive, man. You got to stay active, especially at that age. It's lethal to be inactive, man. I'm unless Zuega is really, really terrible. You know, and he manages to just, you know, box him to a decision and work to the body and win the fight and blow us all away, and then the real fucking shit show starts because he'll have a goddamn title, and trust me, the next day he will be on Sky, he will be on the BBC, he will be everywhere. He will fucking knocking at the door to go and fucking display his belt at every goddamn media outlet in the United Kingdom, and we need to avoid that. So Ward Zuega, for the love of God, just do it for everybody, man. I've never rooted as much for a guy as I have for Zuega.
But look, he took like Ward gave him a serious fucking pasting, didn't he, in that fight?
Yeah.
Like those kind of beatings take stuff out of you, you know. That was a serious. Like he hasn't fought anyone since then, has he? And he got fucking battered in that fight. Battered. And Ward's not a big puncher, but he just cut up. He just got you know, sliced to bits, didn't he? His face was a mess.
He's taken a lot of punishment, Leon.
I think he might get stopped on cuts or something like that. You know, I think he could get you know, just it'll all slip away from him and he'll unravel. That's what I'm hoping for.
Let's certainly hope so. I mean, I'm not that type of guy that says, "Oh, I don't want to wish bad upon another person or whatever," but this motherfucker does not deserve it. He doesn't. He doesn't. I mean, I'm gonna call it as it is. I'm not fucking you know, one of these guys that are just gonna be like, oh no, we need to root for him because it's his way to make a living. Fuck that, man. He's taking away the living legit boxers.
And I don't want to hear about taking food out of your family's mouth and all that. I can't stand that shit. And Kimo, you don't have to worry. It's boxing, so you can say you want someone to take a horrendous beating because it's within the parameters of the sport. No one can be offended by that. Right,
but you have these people that you know, try to be PC about this fucking shit, or just
don't watch boxing,
or just for the fact that he's British. You know, like we have to root for him because he's British. Well, I feel very fucking German on Saturday. So,
Schnell.
Let's go.
Are we done on this fight?
I could shit on it some more. Actually, I kind of in the groove now. But yeah, we can move on to.
Yeah, Yeah, because I better jump off in 5 minutes. So, yeah, move on to I don't really have an opinion about this Kovalev thing because everyone knows where I stand, right? It's pretty obvious who I want to win, but it's just weird. I just think people are weird about Ward. Like, I was watching a few fights this week. But he's horrible, isn't he? Like, to watch. Like, have you ever gone back? Is there a highlight reel of that? I mean, I know people are going to say I don't maybe understand the subtler things he's doing. It's just so this idea that I don't know. It's just the way Ward fans talk about adjustments and then back it up. They don't back it up with anything. Like, he's the only person who can ever make an adjustment. And it's like the idea that he's in Kovalev's head, and fighting with passion is like become a fucking negative thing in this sport. What are we fucking talking about? Like, what did you fall in love with when you were younger? Because I know what I fell in love with. Is that kind of passion and anger, and I think it can be everyone seems to think it's a hindrance because they're all trying to be fucking highfalutin and intellectual about this sport, and a fucking hipster cunts. But passion and aggression and anger can be a beautiful thing in this sport. It's fucking diminished by hipsters and people who like runners and all this shit. So that's why I'm all about Kovalev, because that's what he's about. That's just a bigger thing about the whole, like, the build up to his fight, because I've kind of stayed out of it, stayed away from it, because I don't fuck with that Jesus fucker.
The son of God. Still not over that, by the way. Still, after all those years, I still think it's the most self-centered, fucking ridiculous nickname I've ever heard in my life. But to get back to what you were saying,
preaches religion, worships money. Never forget.
Well, not just that. He fights like a fucking street thug, so whatever. But anyway, what you were saying about the fact that people talk about his adjustments and his boxing ability, I think you did the same today, Cam. I've gone back and I've sat through the fight. It's not a good fight, but I've sat through it for the sake of the show, and I've actually scored it. I don't score fights that often, especially when it's shit like this one. And I've studied it, right? I've looked at Ward, I've looked at what he does, I've looked at his movement, I've looked at Kovalev's movement, and if you honestly look at it from a neutral perspective, the person that's really boxing, in the sense that we know what the word boxing means,
Kovalev.
It's Kovalev.
Yeah.
It's not Ward. It's Kovalev who's trying to keep the distance, using his jab, trying to get the clean punches, where it's Ward who is either moving backwards in a very telling fashion or jumping in and instigating the clinch. So the people that always talk about him being a better quote-unquote boxer, I don't think he's a better boxer. I really don't. I think he's maybe, I don't know what you want to call it, but yeah, I actually don't think he does anything better. But
like he's I think people think he's slick, right? And then defensively, I think he is kind of, he's very good at not being touched. But going forward, I mean, you're not going to want to. He's not, it's not like, from all of my dislike of Mayweather, when he's avoiding and letting punches go, he's a highly skilled performer. I don't see that in Ward. I see a spoiler, a ruiner, and he's good, right, at what he does. But visually, it's an assault on the eyes. Personally, for me, but this is another thing, and this is the fucking hypocrisy of some of these fucking Ward fanboys. Because, we're always accused of being anti-Ward. Well, I am. Fuck him. But one thing he always does is, when it's a clinch, everyone else, in any other fight, that's a terrible thing. But for some fucking reason with Ward, he's a tactical genius all of a sudden because he knows how to use the clinch. But if he did that, if another fighter did that to one of their fighters, they would be going, "Oh, it's terrible, it's a disgrace." Like Brook got accused of it going to fight Porter. Is it any different to anything that Ward does? But he's a fucking genius.
It's completely illegal what he does. I've said it from day one. He does a lot of, again, watching this fight today, Leon, he does a lot of nasty, dirty, little crafty Bernard Hopkins type of moves.
He's Bernard Hopkins, that's what he is.
Yeah, he is. And he makes it very difficult. And you could see the sheer frustration on Kovalev's face because, every time he wanted to hit, and he was headhunting a lot in the fight, you could see every time he wanted to throw a shot, for example, with the right hand, his head would already be on his fucking chin. You know, he would already be on the inside, tying him up, smothering his work. It's a very, very difficult guy to face.
Well, it's interesting, Kim, you say that, because I was, like you said, I watched it yesterday after the fight occurred. I think I watched it twice when it happened, obviously once live and then once the day after. But it's very subtle, as you say, where Kovalev would maybe throw the jab, Ward would kind of bend down, go into his armpit, and then it looks like Kovalev's getting him into headlocks, but it was really Ward that initiated the action in the first place.
100%. And anybody that says different is full of shit. The track record is there. This guy always, he doesn't want to exchange. He doesn't exchange with anybody. He has never exchanged in his fucking life, in his professional career. He doesn't do it. He avoided an exchange all the time. In the second round, he threw with Kovalev and he got knocked down. And that was a mistake. That wasn't planned. You know, it wasn't like he was trying to punch with Kovalev. No. Kovalev punched with him and knocked him down. He never wants to exchange with a person. All he will do is he will kind of bend, like you said, bend at the fucking waist, you know, try to jab to the body. Then he comes in and then he'll, you know, instigate a clinch. Shoulders. Yeah, and he'll start fucking doing nasty shit. And because Kovalev was kind of, you know, finally a bigger man than him, he would often start muscling him around and throwing him around and throwing to the body. He kind of did that well in the later rounds, by the way, just to kind of fight fire with fire. But make no mistake about it, it's Ward who is instigating this 100%.
But on the fight, it's going to be another close fight. Well, close. I didn't think it was that close in the first fight, but it will feel like it did last time. I mean, Kovalev, I don't know what he does differently because, you know, he is who he is. But I mean, obviously there's some subtle things he can do. He doesn't really go to the body, but I think he should do in this fight. I mean, I feel like he can be more aggressive with Ward. Because this idea that Hunter's saying he's trained Ward to knock him out, it's just do me a favour. I mean, you're fighting a guy who's pretty much one-handed, who's highly defensively skilled and knows how to spoil a fight and look like he's winning rounds because he's done it for his whole career. I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for this, but I just don't, you know, I'm only seeing what I see. I see him as a spoiler and he's very good at it. And so he is a high-level fighter, but it's not a beautiful thing to watch. But so what does... I don't know how it goes. You know, I'm fucking talking shit now.
Well, Leon, like I said, I scored the fight again, and honestly, I even, you know, obviously, you know, I despise Ward. So, am I completely objective? Probably not. But if I look at the fight itself, I mean, I had it 115, 112 for Kovalev, and I even gave some rounds which I didn't think in the beginning were Ward rounds. But for example, the third round, I gave to Ward because he landed one clean left hook, and that was the most telling punch of the fight. And that was also kind of the whole story of the fight, because a lot of times there were literally one or two punches separating one guy from the other. And
yes,
Cam, you've alluded to this before. It's really not a good fight because when you have so little output and you only have, you know, that little amount of like clean, effective, you know, visually telling punches, it becomes either very easy or very difficult to score, depending on the round, obviously. So for me, for example, in the third round, where it's kind of even, a few jabs here and there, and then when they separate a clinch, you know, Ward throws a clean, good left hook right on Kovalev's chin, and you hear the sound, and you see the sweat flying. That, for me, is the most telling punch of the round, so I score that for Ward, right? On the other hand, you know, you have the 10th round, for example, where Ward is just eating jabs. He's fucking eating jabs, you know, and Kovalev jabs are power jabs, right? I mean, they snap your head back, and he got hurt by a jab in the first round, even Ward. I mean, that's a clear Kovalev round. Just because you're clinching and mauling on the inside, and people are saying, "Oh, he's working the body, I'm scoring."
He's adjusting.
Yeah, get the fuck out of here, man. That's not
adjusting. The poisonous words.
Leon, Ward did the absolute minimum, I thought. Right? Even the rounds where I scored it for him,
there were only one or two punches that separated him from Kovalev. Even though Kovalev was tired, he was always in the fight. He was always jabbing. He never stopped jabbing.
I think we're all pretty fair scorers on this show, right? I don't think anyone carries their bias onto their scorecard. They might carry their bias in previews like this or post fights, but I think when it comes to scoring fights, I don't think any of us take or try not to take our personal belief. Like, we scored for Jacobs, and no one thought we were going to score for Jacobs. Yeah. People were writing us off. People were saying, people. I heard it on other pods. Oh, we're shocked that we scored it for him. Well, I just score a fight how I see a fight, And if Ward had won it, like he can do, where he wins it, 10-2, 9-3, that's how I would have scored it. But I just didn't see that in that fight. It was a very, very. I didn't think it was a close fight. I thought he won it by 2 or 3 rounds clear. But look, it's about the new fight, and it's been overshadowed by the nonsense, the madness that I'll let you talk about. So I mean, I'm sure the victim is not going to be very happy with Mayweather, is he? A little victim.
But here's the thing about scoring, right? For me, a lot of people seem to have different scoring criteria, and for me, it really is just clean, effective punching. I think that's the most important thing, and I never disregard body work, but I also don't overrate it at the same time, depending on the situation, right? If one guy is doing damage to the face, I will score that over a body shot, right? And yes, Ward was working to the body, but people, I mean, honestly, some of these Bay Area fuckers, they were acting like it was Marco Antonio Barrera in there.
Exactly.
Like 15 body shots around. Yeah. Man, there were only like 3 or 4 body shots around. I mean, how can you say that he was outworking him to the body? Listen, man, he wasn't hitting that many good, solid body shots. I can literally count 3, like proper, like left hook to the liver, like bam, where you hear the sound and you hear the thud and you see the visible reaction. Body shots. The rest of it was all mauling type of, like grimy, get into it type of.
And people
punches.
Shit all over Klitschko. That's like the Yanks shit all over Klitschko, but he's a tactical genius. I'm just saying there's a heap of hypocrisy in boxing, and I'm sure we're accused of it. But I think he's one of the people that gets away and gets much more credit than he deserves. He don't think he gets enough credit. I think he gets too much credit.
In both his
no
career,
one's buying that
also,
DVD. No one's buying that fucking DVD.
But also in his career, obviously, but also in his and by the way, I do want to give obviously Ward credit sometimes, just like him going up in weight and taking the fight. That's one thing I'll give him credit for. But when you have 2 punches that are separating one guy between the other, and he throws 2 body shots in a round, and you want to all of a sudden overrate that, you're giving him too much credit. It's like the Floyd syndrome, you're giving a guy credit for not getting hit. Well, you got to fucking punch as well, motherfucker, to win the round. You got to do something telling. I thought Kovalev tired, but he was consistent overall in that he kept pumping the jab. He had a lot of telling shots in the round, and he busted Ward up quite a bit in the 10th round. I thought he was doing enough damage to win the round. Yeah, that's a key round. That's a key round, by the way, because I think that round, when you take into account the knockdown and the first round, the second round, the third round, and the fourth round, I think those rounds are fairly confident Kovalev rounds, but that already puts him at a draw in the minimum. At the minimum. So what else are you scoring? Are you scoring every other fucking round for Andre Ward? That's a tough sell for me, man. So I can see maybe a draw, max in favor of Andre Ward. And it's not in favor because it's a draw, obviously. But, if you move on from that, I'm sorry, man. I mean, I don't cry robbery often, but I did think Kovalev, for the rounds that he won it clearly enough that it's a solid, what did I have? 150, 113 type of fight. I mean, it's 150, 112 type of fight. I mean, having it 1 round for Ward, like all 3 judges had it, it's fucking crazy in my opinion.
Well, look, I've got to go now, but all I can hope for is that he does need Jesus on Sunday morning. So, have a good one, guys.
Cheers, Leo.
All right.
See you later.
Cam,
Bye.
how did you have the first fight again?
I can't remember, I tried to look for my old scorecard, but it was on an old phone, and it got deleted. But I think I either had it 1 point for Kovalev. I could see a draw, but I couldn't see Ward winning, if I remember correctly. But I might be wrong, but I think that's how I initially had it. But the fight tomorrow, Kimo, how do you see it playing out? Do you think it'll have a similar backbone to the first fight, or do you think it'll be very different?
I think it's a really big question, man, and I think there's a lot of intangibles and a lot of intricacies around the fight that we don't really know and we can't really predict, because Kova, I think his problems are not physically. I think his problems are mentally, and the way that he positions himself in the fight. I think body work is very, very fucking important for him. I mean, again, I watched the fight in detail today, and the only body work that I've seen from him was in the 12th round. And he actually had a lot of success with it. He actually did, even because he made a little bit of space on the inside, and all of a sudden he was like punching Ward in the chest and ripping a few hooks to the body, which he doesn't do often. He's kind of like a mid-range type of fighter. And it helped, man. It helped. And I feel like he needs to answer Ward. If Ward starts going to the body, he needs to answer those body shots as well. Not just, obviously, for the judges, but also for himself, man, and to push Ward back and make him feel those punches, man. He is the bigger puncher. He's the bigger guy. He needs to put the pressure on him and not just to the head, because Ward is very, very hard to hit flush, Yes, he connected with a lot of jabs, but Ward's always rolling, moving, like dipping. It's not easy to get a good, clean shot on the jaw. You might always catch him on the forehead or something like that, but those are not the shots that are going to drop him. So that's one adjustment that he has to make, I think. I'm worried about his stamina, because he does seem the type of guy that just goes for the kill, and if he doesn't get it, then he kind of starts fading a little bit. And he's got a temper in this fight, Cam, right? I mean, in the presser, he's fucking pissed off. And on the one hand, it's good to see him, like this, that he's going to fight with a type of fire. But on the other hand, I'm kind of worried that this is going to affect him in the fight. Is he going to keep his head cool? So I don't know. There's a couple of things around that, About Ward, what can he do different? I don't really know, man. I wasn't impressed with Ward, honestly. Like Leon said, I thought he was spoiling a lot. I thought he got through the fight by looking okay, but he never really did something where he did damage to Kovalev, or where he really changed the tide of the fight. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, he never really pulled the fight towards him.
Yeah.
Kovalev, even the rounds that he lost, Kovalev was always fighting back, and he was gassed out, like he was self-admittedly, he was fucking tired. But he was always landing jabs. He was always in there, it was always a chance that he could still win the round if he would only land one right hand, because that's all it would take, man. Like, the output was so low. Like, if Kovalev would have had one or two extra few, right hand combinations, he could have won the fight. Honestly, that's how close these rounds were in terms of output. So I think if Kovalev is just a little bit more active, and when he was sharp and he was on his game, you could see that he was. I mean, I almost want to use the word outclassed, but he was definitely fucking, connecting well on Andre Ward in the first couple of rounds, don't you think? I mean, he looked amazing in those first couple of rounds.
Yeah, early on he did. Just from watching the fight yesterday, obviously adjustments, I think, cutting the ring off. I think Roy Jones mentioned it about 5 times that Kova was just following him around. And one thing I noticed watching it back was there were times where, Kova would throw some feints and make Ward react, but then he wouldn't capitalize on it. Like that when you throw the feint and the guy starts moving. Well, you've seen his move, you know where he's gone. Now throw the straight right or some type of shot to get him. And I think a bit more body work would be good. Kova does throw a good straight right to the body, And I think you need to use that a bit more. I think that would help slow Ward down for the later rounds, because he did slightly up the tempo later on when Kovas dropped, and the body work from Ward was decent, man. I'm not gonna lie. Like, he would get on the inside and he would rip like 2 uppercuts to the body, and they would definitely made Kovas slow down. So I don't know, man. I think underlying the fight's going to be similar to the first. I don't know. I favour Kovas slightly. I don't think he'll stop him, but I think it's going to be controversial like the first fight. I think there'll be some bullshit where something happened and one guy got an advantage or one guy got a disadvantage, some point deductions or some slips that weren't counted, or that were counted as knockdowns or some type of shit. On Monday we're definitely going to be arguing about some controversial shit.
Cam, sorry, but one thing you said there, I don't agree with that, by the way. I think when you say, Ward upped the tempo, I don't think he upped the tempo at all. I thought, obviously, except for the second round and maybe the first where he was hurt, I don't think the tempo in this fight changed.
Maybe I phrased that wrong. Maybe just concentrating more on inside work and body work, because when he was on the outside, and Kovas' jab was on point, but when he would kind of like jab and then, jab and hold, and then as they're kind of getting separated, he'd throw like 2 hooks to the body and stuff like that. So maybe maybe I misworded it.
No, I mean, I honestly thought that the whole fight, whether it was Kovalev or whether it was Ward, was always fought in the same tempo. And the only difference was that Kova, even though he was tired, so he started missing a lot, right? That was really the difference. In the later rounds, he missed a lot of his punches. And Ward is like you say, he's a tricky motherfucker. He's very, very difficult to hit clean. So, man, you gotta switch up your punch selection a little bit. If he's always dipping to the side, try to adjust, try to hit him in the body instead. Like I've criticized Kova about this in the past, and I've seen it against lesser level opponents. He is a bit of a headhunter, and he gets into this mentally where he just, keeps wanting to punch a guy straight in the jaw, and that's like his only option. Well, he has he's probably got fantastic hooks to the body, but he never uses it, man. I don't know. It seems to be a mental block, and he gets a bit passive. So I do hope he realizes that, you can't do this again with Ward. You can't become a bit complacent and expect a different result by doing the same thing. He has to go further than that because, again, we've got 3 American judges. He's on the home turf again. Well done to his fucking promoters for putting him in that position. Not, but, these are the cards that he's dealt. So, anyway, I think we've got Hamada on, don't we?
We do indeed. What's happening, Hamada?
Yes, sir.
A big fan of the Bay Area because of your Golden State Warriors.
Yeah, I just want to give a shout out to the Golden State Warriors, Dub Nation, 16-1. Fuck LeBron James, crying little baby.
All right, let's move on to Andre Ward. Another.
What were you guys talking about?
Hmm?
What were you guys talking about?
We just gave our breakdown of work Kovalev. I think Cam and I are kind of on the same page. We scored it similar in the first fight, and we also kind of expect a similar, very uneventful fight with a lot of dirty shit and perhaps another controversial decision.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I don't know, man. I fancy Ward this time around for some reason. I think I've seen a lot of bad signals from Kovalev, like watching the 24/7, watching like what's gone on this week with the press conference and that. He seems rattled and like, I don't know, man. If he fights, he seems to be a guy that fights with emotion as well. So if he fights angry and just tries to go after Ward and tries to knock Ward out, he's not going to find what he wants. I think the first few rounds was the blueprint for him. He was given Andre Ward loads of problems with his length, with his jab, with the straight punches, and then he got the knockdown, and then for the first 6 rounds he dominated, and then I don't know, I reckon all that wrestling and that, you know how they was doing a lot of headlocks and clinching and stuff like that early on in the fight. I think that took a lot out of his tank, because we know Andre Ward's used to fighting like that. He does a lot of clinching and holding and headlocks and stuff like that. All the dirt. He's got all the dark arts on smashing in the arsenal. So yeah, I think that tired Kovalev out, because I don't think Kovalev's used to fighting like that. And I think that's why he gassed down the stretch. If a similar thing happens again, I could just see Ward dominating down the stretch like he did last time. Even though I did give Kovalev, I think it was round 12 and round 10. I think it was. I can't remember, but yeah. I remember the first fight. I actually had Ward winning on the night of the fight, but obviously it was at 5 something in the morning. I was half asleep and stuff like that. I saw Ward doing all that bolo punching and stuff like that. I was thinking he was in control, where really and truly he was getting punched in the face. So yeah, and then I watched it back. I think it was 3 months later, and then I had Kovalev winning by the same score. So I had it for 140, 130. It was either way. So it was a close fight, and I think it will be close. The only thing I think is if Ward doesn't struggle early on like he did the last fight, I think Ward can take it quite clearly if he doesn't have those issues again. If he's still, because I kind of think Ward towards the latter half of the fight actually worked out the correct distances for him to get his work in and get his jab off without getting hit.
I think that's going to be difficult for him, Hamada, because I think Kovalev always starts more energetic from the start. He fades in most fights if it does go long, and I think for Ward to dominate the early part of the fight is going to be very difficult.
I wouldn't say dominate the early part. If he can handle the early part, if he doesn't struggle like he did in the last one, because the first 2-3 rounds especially, he was really struggling with that length of Kovalev. And if the fight continues from the first fight, where it's round 13 rather than round 1 of a new fight, then I'd favour Ward to take the decision. But I don't like Andre Ward. You guys know it. Even though he's from the Bay Area, and he's the complete opposite to the Golden State Warriors. He's boring. He's an arsehole, and but I don't know, man. I just hope Kovalev wins and Kovalev learns from his lessons, because I think I just caught Kima at the end of what he was saying was Kovalev was doing a lot of head hunting, especially in the second half of the fight. A lot of head hunting. He was just Ward was getting out of the way of his right hand, and he was landing with the jab, obviously, but he couldn't really put a dent in Ward like he was earlier on in the fight. And I don't know, man. Kovalev, he's not really a Mexican kind of fighter where he throws hooks to the body. He normally likes to throw jabs and straight punches to the chest or to the stomach area, and I think he's got to do that with Ward this time around. He's got to break Ward down instead of actually trying to take his head off with one punch. Try to actually break him down slowly. But we'll see, man. Like I said, I'm leaning Ward this time around, but we see.
He did it, Hamada. He did that for the first time in a long time in the 12th. I think you're bang on when you say that he likes to just throw straight punches, and that's mostly what he does. And if it doesn't work out that way, he rarely adjusts. And in the 12th, I kind of saw him do it out of frustration. They were tied up, and he had a little opening, and he threw 2 hooks. And they looked good, man. I think he's got the capability of doing it, but I don't think it's just not natural for him to do so. He loves working behind his jab. I think he's got good legs. He knows how to control distance, take little extra steps just to get in range, and then fire that 1-2. And that's the way he likes to fight. But I don't know, man. I'm worried too that Ward, if he doesn't get dropped and he keeps spoiling like he did for 12 rounds, people are gonna be like, "Oh, look at him on his boxing clinic," even though he gets tagged with jabs all the time. But I'm worried that if Kovalev isn't able to drop him, that Ward will get another fucking decision. I mean, I really, really hope that doesn't happen, man. I really, really hope that, and all the bullshit that's going on in his camp is not helping this, but I really hope that Kovalev is putting together a proper fucking game plan, Stick to what you do well. Obviously, keep pumping the jab, but you have to be able to adjust a little bit when you get closer on the inside, man. He is one of those. I mean, who does he remind me of, man? There's a couple of fighters out there that when they get away from that mid range, they just get lost all of a sudden, man. Like
no man's land.
Who?
Just getting no man's land, don't they? They just can't really do anything.
Yeah, it's very, very strange, man. I mean, you have to be able to, man, at this level, especially when you know what's coming. You have one of the nastiest, grittiest. I don't even want to call him an inside fighter because it's not true inside fighting what Ward does. This is not inside fighting. It's mauling. Inside fighting is Corrales Castillo. That's inside fighting. What he does is just nasty and gritty, and you have to be able to get ready for that. And when you have that little opening, when somebody takes a step back, man, you got to work. You got to fucking work. And he showed me in the 12th that he's capable of doing it. I hope he has taken some lessons out of this. But, when you listen to other podcasts and other interviews, you hear as well in camp that Kovalev is a very stubborn asshole. He doesn't like to adjust his training style or his fighting style. And now that he's got a chip on his shoulder and he's a bit rattled and he's a bit pissed off, does he have the mindset to change his ways? I don't know, Cam. That's one thing that worries me about this.
He's fucked mentally. Like, Kovalev's done. Like, he just, the way he's been acting lately in the 24/7, in the this whole week leading up to the fight, like his mind is gone. Like he's not in the right place mentally for this fight, I don't think.
But Hamada, you say that, but on the other hand, maybe he's a guy that thrives on anger. Remember what happened in the rematch with Pascal?
Yeah, but he won that first fight, so it's not like here he feels as though like the world is against him. That's what it looks like to me. He feels like they robbed his belts from him. They tried to rob his trainer from him. Like, he's saying, like, I read something today about he's upset with how much he's getting paid, and it just seems like it's all getting on top of him. That's what it seems like to me.
And that's not beneficial for his stamina either. If you fight in the ring with anger and vigor,
emotion, you can't fight off emotion.
Yeah,
you can't.
That's just even physically taxing on the body, right? When you fight with anger and you want to go for the knockout, he will gas in 3 rounds, man. That's a problem.
That's why I'm worried about him.
One thing I forgot to mention earlier as well, though, Ward did really well with that stab jab to the stomach, man. And I'm afraid that if
I think it's so overrated, Cam. To be honest, I'm sorry.
Why?
Because what did he really do? Did he throw it that often? Did he do that much damage with it? Did he really stop, Kovalev in his tracks? I don't think he was that effective with it. I really don't. I think and Hamada will obviously confirm this. I think somebody like Floyd uses it way more effectively than fucking Ward.
See, I think your latter point is the right one. I think it really stopped him in the tracks because you made a good point earlier, both of you, about Kovalev being a very straight punch thrower. And, like the classic combination is, 1-2 hook, where Kovalev is more 1-2-1 and finishes with like the power straight with the left hand.
He does, yeah.
And I think just throwing that stab jab to him, it kind of restricted him to kind of doing those 1-2-1 stepping in. And yeah, Kovalev, even though his jab's on point, I think he's best when he's throwing like those 3-point combinations. And I think that stab jab restricted him from doing that.
By the way, Cam,
that's all he has, though. That's all. Ward only has
his
the lead hand. That's all he has in this fight. The jab, the stab jab to the stomach, jab upstairs, and the left hook. That's his arsenal in this fight. So if Kovalev comes in with the right plan and negates him using those tools, then he should be able to get the job done. But I don't know. I can't trust Kovalev. I just can't trust his the way he is mentally, the tendencies he has in the ring. Like, he's got a lot of bad habits in terms of like just seeing openings and adjusting on the fly to what he's seeing his opponent is doing. And I just can't trust Kovalev, man. I just can't.
Kimo, I've got a really important question about the fight now. You need to really think about your answer before you deliver it. Do you think Virgil Hunters will give us some gems again for the rematch? The first fight, I could make an intro to the coalition just off what he was saying in the first fight in the corner.
Man, I mean, it's funny you mentioned that, because I wanted to bring that up, actually. Because, you know, HBO switched about after every round, they went straight to Ward's corner, right? And they give at least a good, 15, 30 seconds of Virgil. I don't think Ward listens to this guy, man. Seriously, I mean, what does he really do? I mean, he would be a fantastic motivational speaker, and obviously that's part of being a trainer, but he's not. He's a fucking boxing trainer. If you want to motivate people, then do that. Be a motivational speaker. But he says the most ridiculous shit. And honestly, every time they switch to the corner, Ward is just staring in front of him, like ahead of him. And he doesn't, even only in the later rounds did he kind of just say a few times like, yeah. Yeah, he acknowledges him. But in the beginning, after the second round, it's like, Dre, look at me. And Andre is just like, not even responding to him. He's like, what the fuck is this guy doing, man? He starts name dropping like classic fighters, like, this is what it's all about. Ali got up.
Robinson
Frazier got up. Like, what?
It's amazing though, man. It makes me laugh. It's amazing.
It's a hell of entertainment, but I never really am impressed with his corner advice. I'm really not. Whether it's with Khan or with Berto or, all this stable of mentally strong fighters that he's got. Angulo. Oh my God.
Let them gifted hands go.
He keeps on Dre. He keeps on saying Dre. What the fuck was he saying in the 10th, man? He was like, he rubs his chest, and like, put some water on his crotch.
Yeah, put
some water
down his shorts on his crotch. It's like, what?
Yeah.
What the fuck, man?
This is something very like. What?
It's creepy as fuck, man. That guy's creepy as fuck.
Just quickly going to corner advice. Afterwards, there were excuses I heard from like Jackson saying, like he was translating for another guy and he doesn't know how much of the actual input got through to Kovalev. But his corner in their first fight looked raggedy, man. There was one point where like Kovalev was shouting at him to put like the mouthpiece in. He's like, yeah, put my mouthpiece in. He's like, oh, I need to wash it. Like, Jackson didn't look like he was controlling that corner in the first fight.
I agree. I actually totally agree, Cam. There's a weird vibe in that. And, with all the shit that's been said in the media, we don't know the type of relationship that they have at the moment. Maybe it's even worse than before.
Yeah.
But I think it also comes down to Kovalev just not being one of these guys that's, like Hamada said, how legit is he mentally as a fighter? Is he the type of guy that listens to his fucking corner when he's pissed off because he's getting clinched all the time? I'm not sure, man. I think he might just be a type of guy that just wants to fucking kill, He comes off that way. So, I don't know. They're a weird combo, Jackson and him, and there's some other guy speaking Russian in the corner. It's a weird combination. I don't know if it's really going to make a difference, because at the end of the day, it's the fighter's mentality that I think has the biggest impact on the way things will go.
Beast Mode just made a great point. He goes, Jackson has to be very hard to understand for Kovalev. He doesn't speak clearly. It's weird. He does have a kind of weird lisp and an accent, so maybe Kovalev doesn't understand what he's saying half the time.
Yeah, but Cam, on the one hand, like, was there really anything happening in the fight that they couldn't have game planned for?
That's fair.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is there at the end of the day, people always, talk about, the corner should say this and the corner should say that. Yeah, but at the end of the day, unless you're like extremely badly hurt and things go completely out of control, if you're mentally still there, if it's just a normal fight, then you got to be thinking about all those drills and all those days and hours of tactics and planning, and that all that's in your head and in your muscle memory, man. That should be there already. You shouldn't have to yell at your fighter unless they're concussed or whatever, but you shouldn't have to yell and give, on the spot instructions that are completely strange to him, They know what they have in Andre Ward. This fight was not a surprise. I think the only surprise was the fact that Ward got knocked down. For the rest of it, we all predicted this. We all knew this was going to happen. We all know the way Ward fights. You know the adjustment that you have to make in order to fight this motherfucker. So, I only put so much credit to the corner. I think a lot of it should already be there. And if it's not, then it's a kind of a lost cause to begin with.
Yeah. All right. Are we done with the preview of this? Because I just want to go through a few more fights that are this weekend, and then we can get out here because it's getting a bit late.
Yeah, sure, man. So I think we'll just close it off. I think you're going with Kovalev decision?
Yeah, tight decision.
So Hamada's going with Ward decision, and yeah.
Pick a draw.
Goddamn.
Be in the middle, pick a draw, Kima.
I wouldn't be surprised, honestly. I'll go with Kovalev. I still have enough hope left. Just because Ward, I wasn't impressed with him at all. I think his output wasn't impressive either compared to Kovalev's. I don't think he's going to outwork him. So we'll see.
Can I say one thing quickly?
Go ahead.
Go on.
How overrated was Andre Ward's bodywork in that fight? Like, people were acting like he was ripping punches, like body shots off and crippling Kovalev like he's Canelo or Triple G or one of these. None of that, man. Like, them body shots had nothing on them. And like, even Kovalev was saying in the 24/7, like, literally he weren't feeling them body punches. They were saying, yeah, he hit me, but I weren't feeling none of them. Literally. And like, obviously we'd expect him to say that, obviously, because he's not going to admit that he's hurt, but I don't know, man. Like, I believe him in that. Because like, it just, when you're watching someone attack the body, like, you can tell, like, yeah, that's a vicious body shot. Like, it doesn't look like that to me when I was watching the fight. I'm sorry, man, but it didn't look like that to me. But yeah,
there were one or two where he put force behind it, but a lot of times he wouldn't. He would just kind of snap them off, and they were a little bit slappy just because he wanted to get his defense up again as well, man. Like, he was not taking a lot of risks in this fight, so he never really committed to the body like you say, like certain fighters would. And actually, people always talk about fucking Ward's bodywork. There was a moment, I think, in the later rounds where Kovalev actually hurt Ward to the body. And he hit him with a body shot, and Ward started taking steps back. And that's one of the first signs, right? If you're really, truly hurt to the body, you start, going backwards a little bit and be like, oh, fuck, that this is a stinging punch. But yeah, nobody ever talks about that. They just talk about, oh, his body work was so impressive, even though he threw 3 fucking body shots in the round.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
All right, let's move on quickly. Just go through a few fights. Rigo's on the undercard. 11 months since he last fought Jazza Dickens here in the UK. So inactive as usual. He's fighting Moses Flores, undefeated. Never seen Flores before until yesterday. Watched a few rounds of him on YouTube. Very weird style. Very tall for the weight. Box rec have him at 5'9" for super bantam, which is pretty massive, man. But he's got a really weird style. He starts from way outside and leads with kind of like hooks from like the other end of the ring, right hooks, left hooks, and shifts stances while he's doing it. So he'll step in, go to southpaw, throw another punch, step in again, back to orthodox. And I don't know, Rigo should be able to cope with that quite easily because you can see those punches coming in from far away. So I favour Rigo, but I don't know if Flores can use his size and kind of disrupt Rigo a bit. Maybe you can have a bit of success, but I'm favouring Rigo, but I don't think it's going to be a good fight. You guys got anything to add, or I'll move on because I know you're not the biggest fans.
I'm not. Yeah, go on, Hamada.
I just think if this guy's awkward, he can probably catch Rico. You know, like we saw with that. What was the guy that he fought, man? The big Japanese guy that fought Warrington.
I
don't remember his name, but that was a good fight.
Yeah, that guy was massive, and like he put Rigo down, and he was quite awkward as well. But I don't know, like you said though, man, Rigo's exceptional talent, so he should handle the business. If anything.
Yep.
He's exceptional at boring people. That's what he's exceptional at. Man.
You were hating.
You can't deny the talent though. I think he's boring as well, but you just can't deny the talent. Like
skills pay the bills, Chemo.
Yeah, he's a talented fighter, but I always think he's been fucking overrated, man.
All right, let's move on. Chemo, let's talk about Lim's boy. Dmitry Bivol is fighting Cedric Agnew, former opponent of Sergey Kovalev. It's a pretty good fight. Like Bivol's 11th fight. Agnew's a lot more experienced. I think it's his 33rd fight, 34th fight, something like that. That's 32nd fight. So, what do you think?
Oh, actually, I knew Bivol was on the undercard, but I didn't know he was fighting Agnew. So, yeah, man, that's a pretty good step up. If I don't remember, wasn't Agnew the guy that was kind of outboxing Kovalev in a couple of rounds?
Yeah.
Or am I mixing it up with somebody else? I think that was the same guy. Yeah, this is not a bad fight, man. Again, I like the way Bivol has looked so far. I mean, he looks like a sturdy fighter with a solid set of skills, but you need to be able to step up to a decent level, and then we can finally find out what you're made of. What's your chin like? Do you have a real stamina? What's your skill set compared to a world level guy? So, yeah, I'm actually kind of excited to see this, and it's not bad that we have a decent fight on the undercard. Actually, I was not expecting that.
Yeah. Any thoughts, Amada?
Nah, just I've never seen Bivol fight. I hear about him a lot from Lim. Lim seems to love him, but yeah, I remember Sergey Agnew when he fought Kovalev knocked him out, and he was the guy whose his parents were in the crowd and they looked like they were in the church. Do you remember that?
Yeah. They all dressed up, ready to go to church after the fight.
Yeah, so yeah, I remember him. Kovalev actually knocked him, I think, what was it, with a jab to the body, or was it a right hand to the body? So yeah, I remember that guy, but I don't know if Bivol's the guy that Lim makes out he is. He should handle Agnew.
Yeah, I favour him to maybe stop him mid rounds. Agnew's southpaw, so I think Bivol's got a pretty good right hand, so I think some of them will be landing. Bivol's body work's decent. Yeah, I like Bivol a lot, so I favour him.
So you're not going with your southpaw? What's this, man?
Nah, man.
Would you say Bivol's on like Gvozdik's level? Because I think Gvozdik's a beast.
The thing is, like, I actually think Gvozdik's a bit overrated, so I'd say they're on the same level. I think Gvozdik's ahead of him because I think he's fought better opposition and he's looked quite good at times. So, but I think maybe Bivol's just below him, just below.
Okay.
But yeah, that's done for the Saturday pay-per-view. Saturday also, ESPN got a card. Golden Boy Promotions card, Fidel Maldonado Jr. versus Pablo Cesar Canelo. Canelo's, I don't know, he's pretty shot, I think. But Maldonado, I knew I recognised the name when I looked at it. He fought Amir Imam a couple of years ago in that really fun fight. Lasted about 5-6 rounds, where I think it was on the wildest of an undercard. Maldonado got dropped a few times, Imam got dropped, and yeah, it was a little war while it lasted. So I think that fight might be decent. What else we got? Friday, so tonight I think, Clarissa Shields is fighting Cindy LeBlanc in the Masonic Temple in Detroit. Hopefully no family members will come into the ring and do any antics. We've kind of discussed Zuega versus Smith earlier when Leon was on, but Hamada, you got any view on this fight?
Oh, man. Oh, man. Fucking hell, man. Like, I think
I can sense your excitement.
I think Zuega can win, you know.
Nah, don't say that, bro. Come on.
I don't rate Zuega, man. I don't rate him.
Yeah, but how highly do you rate Smith, though?
I know I don't, but Zuega's not that good, man. And they've been targeting Zuega for a long time, man. I think... I hope I'm wrong. I'm not picking Smith. Fuck that. I hope Smith fucking gets knocked out viciously, but he's got a chance, man. He's got a chance, definitely. I think it wasn't Zuega. I remember Zuega struggling with De Carolis, man, and De Carolis is shit himself. So I don't know, man. I saw some pictures of the weigh-in today. Zuega did look dead at the weight. And by the way, yo, listen, man, someone needs to give Zuega some Veet, man. Like, honestly, like, you're on television, you're all over social media now. Like, come on, man. Like, do you know what I mean?
Get rid of the body hair.
Cut your chest hair off, man, just for the fucking fight, man. And, like, the rest of your life, you can keep it, man. When you're on TV and you're on internet and stuff like that, and you know you're going to be topless, come on, man, cut that shit off, man. Like, come on, man.
I agree.
It's some bullshit, man. But, yeah, anyways, I hope Zuega wins. But, I don't know, man. And it's laughable that Zuega's actually managed to get this opportunity. He doesn't deserve it at all. He's a scumbag. He's such a, like... You know one thing about Zuega that I hate, and like, it really like, he goes on Twitter and blocks everyone, yeah? And then he says, these people on Twitter and that don't bother me, they don't get on my nerves, I'm cool with it, but like, he brings up the Twitter people, yeah, in every interview and every like, article, whatever he's doing, like, I thought we don't bother you. Like, why do you keep bringing this up? This is what I'm trying to say to you. The guy's an insecure cunt. He searches his own name on Twitter. Like, he's a fucking bastard. Honestly, I hope he loses. Not just him. I hope I hate Joe Gallagher as well. I hope. Can you imagine if Zuega wins? Like,
it'll be the worst, dude.
And apparently,
they will fucking parade that fake belt around for years to come.
It's a fake belt anyways, because at the end of the day, I don't recognize the WBA. So even if he wins, he's not a world champion, man. Fuck the WBA. They're a joke organization who has free... Like, how you have 3 champions? Like, we got to stop. See the WBA, we got to stop recognizing them as a world championship governing body. They are not. They are scumbags. They are money-grabbing bastards, mercenaries. They don't care about... But how can you have 3 champions? Interim, regular, and super... Like, come on, man. Like, that is not legit to me. I'm sorry. Like, it's not legit, man. Like,
Hamada, I think we should get rid of the WBA as one of the main sanctioning bodies and bring in the IBO, because obviously the IBO is way more legit nowadays.
Honestly, I'm not even joking. I'd rather the IBO than the WBA. Like, call me crazy, but I do, man. Just the WBA has no credibility. They just have none, 0 credibility. They're giving Paul Smith a world title shot after fighting 3 fucking journeymen
in six rounders, above super middleweight as well.
Above super like, come on, like, how can we take these people seriously? How can we? We can't take them seriously. It's not fair. Like, there's other people who are probably in line for a shot, and they're doing this. They're gifting this guy a shot. Why? Because Matchroom and Sauerland and fuck off. Say to them, listen, you ain't fought at 168 since you fought Arthur Abraham. Fight at 168, and you fight at 168, work your way up the rankings, and you'll probably get a shot. But
fight a top 20 guy.
Exactly. But no, Eddie Hearn has to, like, you know, he rings up Gilberto and says, Gilberto, don't worry. I'll have your flights, your hotels, your meals, and a bit of pocket money there for you. I beg you, give Zuega a shot. No. Why you gotta do... No. It's a joke, man. It's a joke, man. I hope Smith loses. Apparently I was listening to another podcast, I won't name them, but apparently the reason why Smith is still fighting is because, 2 reasons. Apparently he owes Frank a lot of money, which I'm not sure of, which is allegedly owes Frank money. And the other one is apparently the Smith family put on a bet that all the Smiths will become world champion. and apparently like, it's like very high odds, like, so they must have lumped a lot of money on it and backed themselves. So hopefully Smith loses, and then retires, so that bet's out the window. So that bet's dead.
Well, Hamada, you know what's funny? You know Sky Bet, they don't recognise a regular belt as a world championship. So
yeah, I said that a few months ago. I tweeted that out a few months ago. That Sky Bet, the channel's betting company, actually does not recognise that belt. And then they come on Sky, Johnny Nelson and that fucking Adam Smith come on Sky and talk about world title, the WBA world title. No, it's not a world championship, man. Like your own betting company, don't fucking pay out on it. Don't try and fool the casuals that you got on your fucking channel watching and buying your pay-per-views. Don't fool them, idiots. But yeah, man, I know, man, I'm raging.
That was a great rant.
It's funny how this brings out the rage in everybody, man. I mean, I mean, me and you weren't on yet, but me and Leon fucking raised about this shit another 20 minutes as well. I mean, it really, really is just agonizing, man. And by the way, I'm just watching that De Carolis Zuega fight. Dude, De Carolis would fucking beat Smith, man. He looks like a decent fighter.
De Carolis is not even that good.
No, but he's not. But he's a European level guy. But he looks like now, especially given that he's 34 and shit. I mean, he would definitely beat Smith. I don't know, man.
I think Smith's not as bad as we make out. I think I wouldn't say I was impressed with him in the first Abraham fight, but I definitely had him winning. But I think he's a bit better than what we think. We just can't stand the cunt. So obviously we downplay everything he does. But I don't think he's as bad as we make out he is.
I think he is. I think he had one good night, and Abraham rectified that afterwards and showed the class that he's on, man. Come on, man. Smith, all he did was, okay, he went against the Gallagher game plan. He actually had output for all of the 12 rounds. So he went out of his, he came out of his shell and fucking worked hard. But that was his only like good performance in his fucking career. What else has he done?
Yeah, it's true.
I mean, he was struggling. He was struggling in the fights after that, man, when he missed weight and fought a 6-rounder. Dude, he was struggling with those fucking bums, man.
I haven't watched any of those fights.
Oh, you want to watch that, man? Go and watch that shit.
I don't know.
I'm sure.
I know one of them was on the Brook Golovkin card, and I was there, but I came well after it. Like, he was on really early that night. I think he was on like 6 o'clock on the card.
Man, let me tell you, even though he who was this fucking guy that he fought, man? Hang on.
You're right though, because I remember seeing some pictures of him after the fight, and he was kind of bruised up, man. His eyes were kind of
yeah. One guy was fucking tagging him, and then that guy was a total fucking bum. But then he did knock him out, and then there was another guy. He went, I think, 12 rounds with him. Oh, not 12 rounds. He went. How many fucking rounds did he fight? Probably like 6 or 10.
6.
Yeah. What was his name? I'm just looking at his box record now. Bartholomew Grofka. He has a 17-20 record. Got fucking 20 losses.
And Smith went 6 rounds with him.
You know the funny thing is, you see, if Smith was like grateful and said, you know what, maybe I didn't deserve it, but I thank my team for getting me this opportunity, then like we can. But it's like he acts like he deserves it. He's such an entitled bastard. He thinks that he's earned this shot because of my performance of Abraham. You lost though. All right, the first fight I might have had you winning, but you got your rematch. You earned your rematch. You lost the rematch.
And
so
then
guess what? What does that mean?
And then you got
You go back to the drawing board.
No, but then you got an opportunity to fight Andre Ward. Fair enough, he's like one of the best boxers out there. But you badly miss weight and you get pummeled from the first round to the round you get stopped. So it's like, what more do you want? You know, you've been given the opportunities, you haven't performed.
Exactly. It's bullshit. And then he's crying and saying that how he's world level and he deserves a shot. It's just like he's just talking out of his ass. Like nobody can believe that. But he's here, innit? He's getting his opportunity. Hopefully he loses. One thing I don't want. I know a lot of people have been bringing this up. I don't want him to be involved in a close fight where he could get the nod, because we're gonna get. Don't you remember after the Abraham fight, the first one, we got a lot of shit, like the Smith guys and Gallagher and all of them were coming out going crazy. No, we do not need none of that. We need a solid victory from Zuega. So Smith cannot argue with the decision, cannot argue, and says, you know what, I've had my time, and he hangs up the gloves. That's what we're hoping for. Please, no, none of this. I've been seeing people saying that, I hope he gets robbed if he doesn't get knocked out. No, we don't want that. We don't need that shit.
I don't mind, actually, if he gets robbed.
Man. I don't want to hear all that. Oh, we won the fight. Oh, this is the second time they robbed me in Germany. You know what's going to come out. You know they're crybabies, the Smith guys, man. And then when fucking Smith, his younger brother, the grey-haired cunt, robs fucking...
Liam Williams.
When he robs the guy with the... Because he's headbutting him. They're acting
Liam
like,
Williams.
oh, well, he was going to break him down anyways. And he was going to... Like, do you know what I mean? Like, how annoying these guys are.
They're the worst.
Oh. I'm gonna remember that one. The grey head cunt.
That was a great rant, Hamada. All right, quickly. There's two other cards just to quickly want to mention. Argentina. Diego Chavez fights Jean Carlos Parada and Maidana's little brother Fabian Maidana's at welterweights fighting Pedro Verdu, and also Box Nation have a terrible card on Saturday. That's tomorrow in Belfast, but it's so terrible I'm not even going to talk about it. And I'm done. Chemo, Hamada and Dan's jumped on also. Hopefully Abe's come out of the airport and he's not still circling around or being arrested by the authorities. You guys got anything else?
Nah, man. Go ahead.
I haven't been on in a while, and there's a few things that's happened in the boxing world that I want to talk about. Is that alright? Just for about 5 minutes.
Go ahead, bro.
Okay. First of all, Kell Brook and Errol Spence. I don't know. I think I'm in the minority here. I don't think Kell Brook quit. I just think he opted out. If that makes sense.
No. What's the difference? Explain it to me.
He just decided that he can't. He decided that he was injured and he didn't want to continue. But I don't know. He got a lot of abuse. Yeah, he got a lot of abuse for quitting and stuff like that. Like I said, he opted out. I wouldn't call it a quit because he was legitimately injured, but he chose not to continue. Whether that you can define that as quitting or not, boxing's different to every other sport. If, for example, a footballer hurts his ankle, later on he can just go to the bench and say, tell the coach, I need to come off, I'm injured. What, is he a quitter? He's not. He's injured, so he's come off for someone. Obviously in boxing there's no substitute, so you have to continue fighting. And I think, I find it quite bizarre that a lot of fighters came out after that and started bashing Kell Brook, calling, I've seen Gervonta Davis, Terence Crawford, even Thomas Williams, yeah? That guy who quit on ESPN and then started begging, what's his name? Atlas, saying, I'm sorry for quitting. He quit in a fight and he's got the cheek to come out and say Kell Brook quit. It's quite bizarre because obviously, these fighters, they're the ones that normally stick up for each other and they say things like, you don't know what it's like to be a fighter, you don't know this, and then they're all coming out and bashing Kell Brook saying that he quit, which I found quite bizarre. But one reason why I don't feel sorry for him in a way is because you know how these boxers are, Cam and Kimo. They come out and say things like, "I'll die in the ring. I'm brave. Like,
I'm a warrior.
You guys don't know what it takes to be a fighter. You guys don't know how the work we put in." So when you talk like that, we're gonna hold you to a different standard because you make it seem like we're humans and you're something else. Do you know where I'm coming from?
Yep. No, 100%.
We're gonna. Sorry?
I completely agree with you, and that's something that Kell has always said in his fucking career, and that's the way Eddie sells him as well. Oh, he's a total warrior. He'll take on everybody. At the end of the day, he fucking quit twice against Golovkin and against Spence, and those are two biggest fights in his career.
Exactly. So, like, in a way, I can't tell people that are saying Kell Brook quit, "Oh, you're wrong," because you're the one that goes around saying, "I'm a beast, I'm a warrior, I'll die in the ring, I'm this, I'm that. You guys don't know what it takes. You've never boxed, so you can't have an opinion." When you're saying those things to us fans, like, how do you expect us to, like, let you off the hook when you do act like one of us and do act like you do feel pain and you do act like you can be hurt? Like, what do you expect us to say then? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's crazy, but I don't know, man. I kind of give Kell Brook a pass. He was legitimately injured. You can see that I was fucked for a few rounds. So instead of saying he quit, he definitely did opt out of fight, continuing fighting, and decided to stop and end the fight. But he was legitimately injured. It's not as if, you know, he done a Nicholas Waters and just said, "You know what, this guy's beating me up, so I can't be bothered to fight anymore." It wasn't that kind of quick, you know, so...
You know why I don't give him a pass? Because he fucking has a big fucking mouth, and like you say, he acts like he's a fucking warrior that will do anything, and he's already proven twice that he wouldn't do anything. And not only that, for example, when Khan got knocked out, he was on Twitter saying, "Oh, has Khan woken up yet?" You know, he's sending these nasty fucking tweets. You know what, dude? If you're going to talk like that, fuck you. Then get knocked the fuck out yourself, but you won't because you're too much of a fucking pussy to continue.
You do know, though, Eddie Hearn runs his Twitter, though?
I don't care. At the end of the day, it's his Twitter, and I wouldn't put it past him to say that. He's always talked shit about Khan, that he's getting knocked out and all of that. Well, at least he's willing.
I remember Eddie Hearn must have put out like, Kell Brook's account put out a tweet saying, "Follow me on Instagram at Eddie Hearn." Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember that. Basically, it just showed everyone that Hearn was running his Twitter account. But then people questioned Hearn about that, and then he was like, "Well, I do have the access to him because for promotional reasons and all this shit." Sorry, Kimo, I cut you off.
No, I was just because I got a bit upset there. I called him a pussy, which I said I would never do. So I do take that back. He's not a pussy because he's a professional fighter.
Nah, bro,
but,
no take back. Sorry.
Yeah, you just hate Brook, man.
Yo, that post-fight show, that's the happiest I heard Cam in a while, man.
Bro, I was smiling all night.
Cam was so happy, man.
Serious.
Trust me, he was happy.
I was.
Cam had the best fucking day ever, man. I bet you treated yourself to some cheeky Nando's afterwards.
Standing.
In your con gear.
And then went for a Subway afterwards.
Yeah.
Anything
Did
else?
you guys talk about the super fight that got announced?
Yeah.
Oh, we spoke at length about it.
I'm talking about Canelo GGG.
Yeah, man, it's a great fight. We're very excited for it. Who you picking?
I'm picking Conor, man.
Man, I'm talking about Canelo Triple G.
I'm joking, man. I think Triple G would do with him. I've got Triple G, man, all day long. Triple G. I'm a Triple G stan, innit? I'm a Triple G fanboy. You know, so according to some people, so yeah, I'm picking GGG.
According to who?
I don't know. According to some people, I'm apparently a Triple G fanboy. Apparently, so yeah.
You're a Floyd fanboy, man.
According to some people in the Bay, but yeah,
Those people see the Son of God as a role model, so we don't really need to get into that.
But anything else on Mada? Because I need to wrap it up.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, no. Last thing,
Cam needs to go pick some people up.
Huh?
Cam needs to go pick some people up, man. He has to go play taxi.
Uber driving. That's a leader.
Yo, this boxing game isn't paying me enough, so I have to stick to Uber.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. We call it a night, man.
All right. Kimo, any final thoughts, young man? I haven't used that word for a while, man. Bringing back the old Jerry Springer line. Final thoughts.
Oh, I thought you were talking about young man. I'm not that young, man. No, man. It's relatively speaking, it's a big fight. So in a way, I am kind of looking forward to it. I just hope that it's a little less ugly than the first fight. And I truly and genuinely hope that both Ward and Smith get sparked the fuck out. And, lately I've had a good year. Groves became world champion. Danny Garcia lost, so I don't know. I feel like I've got some momentum on my side, man. Who knows? Maybe at least one of those wishes will come true this weekend. So let's hope so.
Hamada, any final thoughts?
No. That's it.
All right. Thanks for jumping on. Kimo, always a pleasure.
Thank you, Bled.
Thanks to all the people in the chat and all the people that download the show week in, week out. We'll be back on Monday. Peace.
You just listened to the Boxing Coalition.
Dude, man, I love boxing. I fucking love boxing.
A big shout out to the Boxing Coalition.
You're a newbie.
No, I ain't new, man.
If my fucking next door neighbour became the #1 flyweight in the world, you know what I'd do? I'd fucking walk past the cunt.
Derek, how you doing, bro?
I was physically burn you, blood.
I disagree.
First time I hear the song, man, it was fucking badass.
Vamos a Argentina, la concha de su madre.
I see the bomb in them.
I get home and she's like, what the fuck? Me and the kid are here. Why don't you get home and talk to us? I'm like, man, you guys don't know shit about boxing.
Kell, how does it feel to be the new IBF champion?
Feels great. Did we really dive into the black hole right off the jump?
I think he's hiding glass. Just to play devil's advocate. You want 1 portion of crow or 2 portions of crow?
Give me 2 portions with a supersized fries and a large drink, please.
I can't stand him, what? I'm Scottish. Cringe side?
But you won't rush Anthony fucking fat ass Joshua, would you?
He's not fat.
How about you tell us what you weighed for your final thoughts?
My weight?
Thank you for listening to the Boxing Coalition. We are live every Monday, 10 p.m. to 1 a.m. UK time, 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern.